All right. We got this figured out, guys. How's everybody doing tonight? If anybody in chat could give me just some feedback real quick, let me know if you can hear us speaking right now.
Can you hear us? I mean, we know Discord can.
All right. We got this figured out, guys. I'm hearing myself back. How's everybody doing tonight? Anybody in chat
I would assume and hope YouTube can also.
All right. Now meeting my stream. We should be good to go. All right. Man, what a day, man. What a day.
Yeah, I know. It's been crazy for me too.
So much stuff going on today. It's been just one of them days, man. Just boom, boom, boom. There's always something to do. Thank you, Scarlet KM. Thanks, man. Our level's good. We too loud, too soft? We can bump it up if we need to. I'll bump mine up just a little bit more here. I'll bump
Kingsley's up. Hear us? or I mean, we know you can hear us, but are we too loud or quiet?
Yeah, I just like to get that set up before, because when people come back to watch the replay, I don't want them going, man, I can barely hear it. So I just want to make sure that's good. All right. Let's do a podcast. Everybody doing good? Everybody enjoying their week, having fun doing AJD Kent, how you doing? Sounds good. Thank you, Scarlet KM. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. It's been a busy week, man. It's been a busy week. That's for damn sure. I got the TWAB pulled up. I don't know if you've looked at it yet, but we're gonna a little bit. I've not seen it yet, so you'll have to. We'll discover it together live.
Yeah, there's nothing too much you need to worry about.
I figured it'd be a light one. So, okay. I think we're ready to go. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. 3, 2. All right, what's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to episode 200. Oh, no. I'm going to do it right. I'm not done. Not starting it that way. No way. What's up, Guardian? Welcome to episode 291 of Guardian Downcast. I'm your host, Todd the Gator, and I'm a day one Guardian who loves gaming, and especially the Destiny franchise. We're the podcast that's all about your stories, your community, and your destiny. This week, I have my co-host, Kingsleymac, back with me again this week. How are you, sir?
Hello, I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we've been gaming a lot this week together, so we got a lot to talk about tonight. For those of you who may have just discovered our podcast, we're a weekly gaming show with the emphasis on the Destiny franchise, and we like to sprinkle in some entertainment and other topics of discussion relating to all kinds of hobbies that kind of swirl around this industry and what we do online. So, but we have been producing audio episodes for nearly 6 years now. And as the game has evolved, we've evolved as well. So we now produce a live version of our show on YouTube, and now our Discord stage channel where you can interact with us live in the chat on our new day and time, which is Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll also have a replay of tonight's show on my YouTube channel. And of course, the audio version is always available for our podcast listeners out there on those podcast apps. And you can always go to our website, guardiandowncast.com, to listen to any individual episodes as well, whenever you like. In tonight's episode, we're doing things a little bit differently. That's the reason we're running a little bit late tonight. We're trying a lot of new, different technology tonight, and hopefully it all works. So we're going to start the show with our usual weekly catch-up, really briefly. And then next, Kingsley and I are going to share our week 2 impressions of Heresy, including the new exotic submachine gun, the Barrow-Dyad. We both ran the exotic missions this past week and just recall our experiences, how we thought the mission went and everything like that. And also we can finish like you wanted to do, Kingsley, about the ending storyline and stuff. We can get into that if you like as well. If Bungie has anything important in their weekly blog this week in Destiny, we'll of course share that as well. Then, Mike and I like to talk about our Destiny experiences, but we want also for you guys to get something out of our episodes as well. So in that vein, we're going to try to provide more tips and tricks to help you in your Destiny adventures. Kingsleymac has a brand new Warlock build tonight that he wants to share together, and we're going to do it live on the show. I'm going to pop my game up on screen, and I'm going to we're going to step by step because we're both Warlock mains. We're both going to step by step build it. And then I'm going to, of course, save it in Dim, and I can use it later. And then also I have a prismatic build for my Warlock that I've been using probably since Final Shape, and it's so versatile. I really haven't varied it much. So I'm also going to go over that as well a little bit later in the show. And I can use it for PVE and Crucible activities with just a few flicks of a few mods changed out and stuff. So I'm going to share that as well tonight. There's also a sleeper weapon out there right now in Heresy that many of you may not be aware of that I want to make sure to mention tonight. Also, we have some questions from our community that we'll answer. Finally, as a little bonus, as we're going out on the show tonight, we interviewed a longtime member of the community, Dimwie, about his day one raid race experience where he finished 257th in the world, I believe. And we want to hear about his experience, maybe give you guys some other info about the new dungeon, the Sundered Doctrine dungeon, and, some tips and tricks that may help you get through it. And Dimwie's always been really a good team player when it comes to running stuff with the community. And he does a lot of stuff for our Discord community as well, doing a lot of Sherpa runs and stuff. Kings, there's a lot to cover tonight. So if you guys have any input or questions or something where you want to comment on something in the chat, whether it's in our Discord or in the YouTube channel, we're going to always keep an eye on chat as well while we're doing this and make sure we include you guys. Since you're joining us live, we can interact with you guys live as well. Anything else? Gosh, man, I hope we can get this done. It's gonna be tough. We'll go as quick as we can. So if everyone's ready, let's roll. All right.
We may want to check the notes again. Now I'm second guessing if Dimwie said it was 157th instead of 257th.
You know what? We'll hear it at the end of the show because he does mention it.
We may want to make a note for that in case you need to re-edit or something.
Oh, also, I don't even have my camera on in Discord. Sorry, guys. There we go. Camera's on now.
But you did.
No, camera's on
maybe
now.
It went away.
Yeah.
There we go.
No, he had a statement he wanted to share because we interviewed him because he's 6 hours ahead in Germany. We interviewed him earlier today. That's why our day's been kind of crazy. Kingsley was kind enough to get off early and break some time off from his job. And I had so much to do today. I just took today off and we interviewed him earlier today. And it was a really good interview. So we're going to play that out at the end of the show as we're heading out for the night. And you guys can listen to that as well. So, all right. This first segment should be pretty quick. We don't have it's mainly all Destiny, to be honest. We've been so entrenched in Destiny this week. So I do have a few things I did want to mention though. So I'll go to you first as usual. All right, here we go.
Okay.
All right. As we always like to do every week is kind of catch up. I only see Kingsley usually once a week. We talk in the Discord a lot, but I just want to see, what we've been doing this week and go from there. I'll start with you, Kingsley. Anything you want to mention this week that you've been doing?
Yeah. Besides Destiny, which of course we have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Probably the most interesting things have just been super recent the last day or so. Today was crazy because I was mentioning to you earlier with us recording some pre-show stuff, which we'll have later on. We've had another snowstorm in Utah, which it sounds absurd me saying it, but it's the last few years we haven't been getting them as often, or they've been hitting the mountains more. And it seems like the whole west part of the United States has been, in general, a little bit warmer over these last few years. There were times when we were in major drought too, but in Utah, at least the last couple of years, we've been fine that way. The mountains have gotten enough snow, and that's what counts for the water level. But anyways, today was a pretty gnarly one where it was blowing snow and it was colder too. It was in the 20s versus the 30s. And usually when you get snowstorms, even though temps can go way lower than 30s, usually snowstorms are going to be like low 30s because the cloud cover kind of like has a protection, keeps the temperature a certain way.
Yeah.
But the blowing snow, the cars were like sliding all over the road, even though we're somewhat used to driving in snow. And I don't know what happened to you. A bunch of power went out in cities around me. Luckily, my house didn't go out in power, or else I wouldn't have been able to record earlier.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. And I've just been super busy, like today, yesterday, things like that. I also found out my main, because anyone doesn't know, I run my own business and I do specifically Apple consulting. Basically, I'm outsourced IT for small, medium businesses. I'm like their outsourced CEO. I just help businesses with their computers. And I'm what's called a certified Apple consultant. There's only a couple in Utah. that have that highest level certification through Apple. Well, Apple just announced a few days ago, but we had a meeting this morning. They're changing their partner program. I won't bore all you guys with it, but I'm really happy because they're going to be giving us more resources. But here's the cool part is we used to have to pay a yearly fee to be in this program. They're nixing that. It's going to be free going forward for us. Now, you still have to like put the work in to become a partner. And they're changing the names. It used to be an Apple consultant, but now we're going to be called a premier Apple technical partner. I kind of like the word partner a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because it shows like we're officially hand in hand with them. So of course I'll go, and that starts in the fall. I'll be going through all the certifications or requirements to get that done. But I'm really happy I don't have to pay it was basically an $850 yearly fee, which is nothing the cost of running a business, but still, why pay it if I don't have to? So
well,
I'm
I mean,
happy
it's like my business. I have to pay for licensing and renewals and continuing education, all that stuff. It probably adds up to about that every year. Yeah, not more.
Yeah, and of course that's tax write-off and all that stuff. But still, you got to still pay the money, and so I'm glad I don't have to do this one anymore. So really happy about that. Even though it's been busy, I'm kind of happy about that. And lots of things going on in Destiny, but I'll talk about those later with you.
Okay.
So that's all for me.
Yeah, entertainment-wise, no movies this week. Just one of those weeks, just not a whole lot out. And there were some good movies, we could have probably seen, but man, it's just been a crazy week. And we just decided just to chill out and watch shows at home this week. And I did start a new show. It's on, I believe it's on Fox, and it's about a career doctor who is at the top of her game. She's a chief of medicine at a huge hospital. Then she has an unfortunate event in her life. And even though she survives it, she can't remember anything that happened in the past 8 years. Don't ask me why it's 8, but there's a chunk of something in her brain that blocks that memory or something. But it leads to major trauma in her life because with her family and her friends, and she's trying to readjust because she was such a different person back then that it's like waking up and not knowing what happened the last 8 years. And it's so different, and you'll find out why, because she was kind of an asshole. And it's one of those moments where you can actually get a restart in life and start over. And that's kind of what this show's about. It's just simply called Doc, and it's on Fox. And I think I watched it on Hulu because you can watch the replays on Hulu. So yeah, I've seen the first 2 episodes of it so far, and it's pretty good. And like I said, since when do any of us have a redo in life? So I thought that was a pretty cool context for a show. And the second show, it's a little embarrassing, but I don't care, man. This show's really got me sucked in. It's I'm not a real big Survivor, Big Brother, whatever else is out there as far as reality TV goes. I was on the Survivor kick when it first came out, but I just kind of got burned out on watching that stuff. But I began to watch the 3rd season of a show called The Traitors. It's on Peacock. It's a Peacock original. And at first, I was like, this is like a gossip drama show and whatever. It's like a Survivor show, but it's built in, it's in a Scottish castle. Alan Cumming, which is a true Scot, is actually the host of the show. And, it's just got a really neat vibe to it. And it's kind of like Survivor, where you have like the campfires where you can get voted out and stuff. But, I don't know. I might have a problem, Kingsley. I was up till 3 a.m. last night watching the last season. I'm on our last episode. I'm on episode 7. And then I'm like, where's episode 8? Well, I caught up with the show. So now I'm like, got to wait every week. Yeah, God damn it. I hate that stuff. But those are the 2 shows I watched this week. I'm continuing to watch The Pit on HBO. In fact, I usually watch that after the show tonight because it comes out every Thursday night. Gaming, I wanted to mention this, Kingsley, because in Destiny, because we're probably not going to address this. We're going to talk more of the PVE stuff tonight, but I did begin to play the revised competitive Crucible that with my buddy Warcry, and we finished our 7-game establishment mode, which you still got to do in comp, and got the weekly drop of the new battle rifle, the Redrix S-Stock. And mine dropped with a really good roll. Hammerforged rifling, flared mag roll, lone wolf, sword logic, and hand-laid stock. And even though it's not my preferred roll, it's definitely a good start. And I'm looking forward to playing every week to see what roles will get to drop, usually on Monday nights right before reset. So I'll be doing that again. But if you have the Valkyrie Zero shader, that thing looks so good on so many weapons. I think I got it from a Nightfall or something long ago, but Valkyrie Zero is a really good shader. It's got oranges and blacks and a little red in it. It's just really nice. I did enhance it one step so I could get the enhanced mods, those new mods that have come out for the weapon. So I put an anti-flinch weapon mod on it since it has like a very large zoom scope on it. It's the battle rifles. Stability masterwork. And out of the 7 games, I believe we won 5 and lost 2. And we did play on console. And so we're starting out in the gold division. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys updated as far as how the comp is going. And as far as the other parts of Destiny, Heresy, DLC, like I said, I think we'll get into that too. So, yeah, JD Kent, I actually saw the first episode of Matlock too. And there's so much stuff to watch, man. I mean, I got a game, I got to watch TV.
Yeah.
Any time I have is between those two things. And I mean, poor Balatro. I haven't even talked to Balatro in the last couple of weeks. Probably thinks I'm cheating on him, but oh well.
One other show I want to mention, it's coming out.
Yeah.
I forgot, but this Sunday, season 3 of The White Lotus.
Yes, there's some good stuff coming, man. I mean, there's season 2 of 1923, I believe, is coming out very soon. And don't forget the big giant live show, the 50th anniversary show of Saturday Night Live. It starts at 8:00 on NBC, and it of course streams on Peacock as well if you want to watch it without the commercials and stuff, if you have that service. It's going to have so many stars from I think a lot of the stars that originally started in Saturday Night Live all the way up to, and then they also have on Peacock, they have a full concert series with all the musical artists that played in the past 50 seasons. So man, it's gonna be a good week of TV, that's for sure. But 99 Cap, well, sounds like you're cheating on Balatro. Yeah, I am cheating on Balatro this week. But it's the thing. It's a great thing about Balatro is you can just jump in and play it whenever you like. It's the coolest thing. So yeah, but that's pretty much all as far as catch up this week. Anything else you want to mention, Kingsley? I'm curious if are you still watching that Lives of Mormon Lives? I heard something about that show. The Mormon Wives.
Well,
Did you still watch that one?
First season. They're making a second season right now, but it's not out yet.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Yellow Jackets next season comes out. I think this week. There's a lot of good TV coming down the pike. So, yeah, just trying to keep track of it all. That's the thing. So, all right, we'll be right back, and we'll get into our thoughts for week 2 and the new exotic SMG mission right after this. Yeah, that's gonna be fun, man. Good deal. All right. How do you want to play this? You want to start with the Heresy story, kind of catch up on because we didn't spoil things last week, right? So we kind of want to
just be real quick. Yeah. Heresy story.
I would definitely want to go through the exotic mission.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Really nice.
I meant to read. I just got too busy, but I wanted to do more research on the lore of the mission, but I didn't have time to do that at all. So
that's fine. We got plenty of episodes to put that in later. Yep. Okay. All right. Trying all kinds of new stuff tonight, so I'm a little on edge. Okay. All right, here we go. 3, 2. All right, Kingsley. I know we got a lot of stuff to go over tonight, and then even to boot our interview with Dimwie at the end of the show. But I wanted to, we kind of didn't do spoilers last week because it was the very first week of the new Heresy on the Dreadnought and stuff. So I just wanted to touch base with you. I know you wanted to mention more about how things ended and more spoilery stuff. So I mean, if you haven't played it by now, it's week 2 now, guys. So maybe play it back later if you're listening now and you don't want to be spoiled. But go ahead, Kingsley. Let us know what's up, man.
Well, I mean, basically the big thing, which we're all kind of past now because it happened a little while ago if you've been playing, but Eris Morn, quote, dies, but then I'll get to more in a second.
Yeah. Not only dies, but is dragged by the stave.
I know, that was crazy. That I forget the name. Did they give a name of that guy? But he's kind of like supposedly the episodic boss or whatever.
Yeah, I don't
know though if he will be because there's so many rumors of other things going on.
Yeah.
There's even There's even some voice lines and stuff from Zivu Wrath. And, this has been the whole discussion all along. Like, how and where are we going to finally deal much with Zivu Wrath? Like, will it be part of a seasonal storyline, which I could almost see happening at the end of this one, because this is a big one and leading into something new that would make sense.
Yeah.
But typically, you wouldn't want such a big character to just be relegated to a seasonal story. You would want to have like on a major DLC. So I don't know, with that. But anyways, Eris Morn gets killed, but then at the very end, and basically a Drifter too, but then the Drifter can revive with his ghost, right?
Yeah.
We're watching this at the very end on that mission. He's like, no, because Eris Morn is killed.
It's his moonlight.
And then we're like, yeah,
Stardust.
he's like all upset, and we're like, oh, really? Did they do that? Did they do that? But then the very end, they show us a cutscene where she somehow seems to be woken up in what's basically got to be her throne world.
Oh well,
here's a throne world.
Here's the thing: when I saw that, I was like, of course, because she had so much power in one of the episodes where you remember she took
it from
she took it from did she take it from Zivu
Wrath?
Wrath?
I'm confused. Okay, did she take it from Savathun or Zivu Wrath? Now I feel silly,
Savathun. No, she took it from Savathun.
Yeah.
Remember, she cut her throat at the very end.
Right. Was she like trying to fight again Zivu Wrath in a way?
It was
too?
No, it was a trick. It was a trick.
Deal with Zivu Wrath directly.
If I remember that last cup scene, Savathun was getting close to her, like really close to her, like thinking she's safe, and Eris cuts her throat.
Yeah.
I don't know if any.
So that's how she gets the powers, and that's kind of was helping us protect us some from Zivu Wrath a couple seasons ago too. But
that's right.
But I don't know what this means. I mean, sure, it's nice that she's not totally dead, and we'll see some instance of her again.
Yeah.
But can anyone visit her? Can we visit her? Can she visit us? Like, what will this mean in the long run?
JD can. He says that's what she gets for using a hand cannon. She should have checked the new meta for the season. Here's the thing. I've never seen her use a hand cannon. Have you ever seen her use a weapon? She uses her dark powers.
Not that I remember. I can't say that I haven't. I mean, I'm trying to think about all the D1 stuff, but
like the Beyond Light stuff when she was using
Destiny 1. Like, because remember, she's been, and there's even the lore of her with their fire team that went down to Crota, and that's where all that started. But I don't know.
It was weird. It was just weird seeing her shoot a hand cannon. I was like, what? She's stronger than that. She doesn't need
cool
weapons. Though. It did. It did. She's a good shot. Yeah. So yeah, that first cutscene was I mean, just kind of gut punched you right off the bat. They didn't mess around. It was like the first cutscene, boom, gut punch. So yeah, it was crazy. I've
kind of seen some spoilers, which I'm definitely not going to go into now, and maybe some even future cutscenes. And I don't understand what they all mean, but it's going to be interesting. Now, one other thing we can talk about is also a little bit of the story that we saw with week 2.
Yes.
Now, the week 2 mission was pretty short, pretty lame in my opinion. When I was first going through it, I'm like, this is it? Like, they definitely shouldn't have time gated this for a second week. Like, they could have had us do this the first week if this is how quick it was going to be. But there is some cool implications to it. Basically, all you do for week 2 of the story is you take a very long walk. Remember, you were like 600 meters. What, 600 meters again? We kept going. It's in the throne world, old dark tower in the throne world. Not the colorful one where we defeat Savathun, but the one deep down in the dungeon.
Yeah, remember the swinging balls, the spiked balls swinging everywhere? Yeah. Yeah. Good times.
And basically, we go to Savathun and we find out that she eventually was able to, get away, which we kind of knew from remember how she was revive farmed, basically?
Yeah.
Several seasons ago, and then but she got away, and then she got back to her ghost. Basically, she got her ghost back. Also, she's just basically telling us, she's kind of like saying, "Stay away." Like she's kind of like throwing down the gauntlet, saying, "I heard you can't stay out of it, Guardian. You're on the dreadnought, and this is a family matter. It's just between me and my brother and sister." And we don't know exactly what she implies by all that, but she knows where like crazy stuff's happening, and she like doesn't want us to be involved. But it's more of a light to medium warning at this point. It's not like she was
pretty aggressive.
Could have tried to like fight with us or something, but it's almost like she was just giving us a warning. She's like, this is the last time I'll talk to you peacefully, potentially, is what
Yeah.
I got. And then she's like, stay away. So it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I remember that part. I can't remember a whole lot of that story because the exotic mission launched this week, and that's what kind of took over my brain as far as what's going on in the Dreadnought. But
I know. Yeah. So we'll get to that. But yeah,
yeah.
for those of you that didn't do the exotic mission, it's just basically that.
Mhm.
And then we collect Cabal cards on the Dreadnought. And one rumor I saw was like another zone was going to open on the Dreadnought. I'm pretty sure it will on week 3. It kind of has to do with the Cabal crash site, if you remember that from Destiny
that's
1.
my favorite area. Yeah.
That may open up next week. It may not. But why else are we collecting Cabal cards? It's got to be something going on there.
I mean, we're at the Trenchway, which is on the way. In fact, we take the path.
It is
It's
on the
almost to
way.
almost opens up to that area it's supposed to, but it doesn't.
Well, it does, and also Mausoleum opens up to that area that you can see part of the Cabal ship in the Mausoleum
Right.
area.
Okay.
But it's like the doors are closed off to go that way, which is technically the front of the Cabal ship that crashed, and then the back of it is near Trenchway. But in Destiny 1 Dreadnought, you just go down further, and there's like another door, and then it's like this big, huge open area where they have that Destiny 1 mission where you're first loading in, and like the tank comes out of the
Oh,
Cabal ship, and there's a bunch of ogres, and you're just doing some big battle. But it's a pretty big zone, and so there's still some worms we haven't found and rumor of that zone, so I'm sure that'll be coming at some point.
I hope so. I spent so many hours in that area just farming whatever. So yeah.
Yeah. And here's what's amazing about this too. It just goes to show again that they did perfect with bringing the Dreadnought back. They're bringing pretty much all the zones. There's even rumors of a strike coming back. When we talk about the exotic mission, they made a new zone, a new part of the Dreadnought we've never seen before. So
beautiful.
It's crazy amazing with what they've been doing so far. If you guys are just listening to this and haven't hopped in, this isn't just us Destiny 1 veterans with the Remember Berries saying like, oh, Dreadnought's good. Like, give it a chance, like explore around, hop into the season even just for a little bit to see what this is all about, because they brought back lots of areas to just run around and explore and see, and kind of better than like how the Derelict Leviathan was back in the day and other things. Like they've done a lot of content, at least as far as exploration and walking around and patrolling.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I hope it comes back because that's my favorite area in the Dreadnought.
Yeah.
So a lot of member berries, going to the Mausoleum, and what's the one with the one bridge areas where that it's like that turnstile comes up and turns and slams, turns it up and
That's
slams.
called the Founts.
The Fount, that's right. That was like the latter part of the Dreadnought of Taken King was that area that opened up. I remember that.
It was the last of the patrol area you could go to. Mm-hmm. There was that other door, which we can see the door with the hive runes on it, and that door would open up for the exotic sword mission. And then there were some extra parts in there you could go. Plus, for the strike, the Darkblade Sunless Cell strike,
yep,
I believe you also kind of started in that area, and there was a door you went through.
Remember it well.
So again, this is all kind of lead together, I believe, in some amazing way. But I also remember this so well because, as you know, I'm what they call the Taken Todd. I started after Taken King, but not a lot. It was like February. Taken King came out. What was it like in the fall? Was it like September or October or something? I forget when it came out.
September, October, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was playing in February, and I pumped through the story and starting to see the Dreadnought and everything. But then the April update was the next big update. It was called the April update, and this was 2015 or 16. I forget what it was, but right after Taken King came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that April update is when people kind of forget, like when they changed the whole power level, it wasn't at the beginning of Taken King, it was the April update after that, where finally you could infuse anything 1-to-1 to get your power up. Before that, what you would do is it would be like a partial infusion. Like if you had something higher than the other thing, it wouldn't bring it up to that level. It would play like a lottery system. It would bring it up anywhere from like between that level to that level, but it wasn't guaranteed. Right. But the April update fixed that. And also it brought a little storyline in too, where I remember the storyline was you're down in the Founts area and you're chasing around this guy. It
was a knight.
Zalakul, was that his? No, that was the
Oh,
strike.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Um,
He
he
was
was
like a
trying to take over. It's like
he was like a big
now that Oryx
blob.
is dead.
Yeah, he was a big ogre. I think he was a big ogre.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he was a knight. He was like a he was like a war priest type character, like
Maybe
a
one of
fancy
the.
knight.
I'm thinking of the mini bosses that were in front of us to get to him. Maybe there were some
Oh
big
yeah, maybe, but
bosses in
he
there.
was trying to take over the dreadnought since Oryx was gone in the lore, like we had
That's right.
taken care of Oryx, and then
Yep.
that led to a strike too, where Strike had already been around, but then he kind of came into that area to be the strike
Yep.
boss.
I remember that.
If anyone remembers his name, but not super important. But yeah,
No, it
just all
isn't.
these areas I
Yeah.
love and stuff. So
Oh my God, Spy Guy in the chat. Been forever, my dude. Damn. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So many memories coming back because that's probably where I spent a majority of my time in Destiny 1 was a Dreadnought. So yeah, really good vibes. I'm loving the Nether. I played it several more times now. In fact, Alakul, yeah, MJT2, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Cause you had to go through that room to get to the 3 swords, to get those exotic swords, if I remember correctly.
Well, yeah, that wasn't part of the story. That was a different thing. But yeah, I still think. Well, Alakul is the strike boss, but I still feel like this was a different strike. But
Strike and the swords missions were separate, but they used that same area, if I remember correctly.
Was it like Talok or Blaulock or something like that? Talok, I forget. But
Talalok was a really good scout rifle, but no, that's all I remember. There's so many terms, man. So many terms.
It might have been Alakul, but I feel like Alakul was the Darkblade strike, but he wasn't the one running around because he was always in prison.
Alakul was the one who would chase you. Yeah, he was the one who would chase you in the dark room, the dark pit down there. He would appear all of a sudden.
Part of the strike, but I'm talking about the story mission that came out with the April update.
Yeah.
He was like a guy trying to take over after
his eyes were more, his 3 eyes were much more glowing. It was, they're very pronounced. I remember his eyes were like bleeding light or something. Showed him he was more powerful than just a regular Hive Knight. So yeah. Anyway, we can speculate on it, but
that's what it was. It's Malok, Malok.
Yes, that's it. Yep. Yeah, I knew that.
He's trying to take over Oryx's crown. Right. We're chasing around down in that Fonts area, and then he basically goes into, I believe, being the boss on the strike. A different strike, not the Darkblade strike where Alakul is, but a different strike.
It was the guy who kneeled in that one scene into Oryx. Yes, it's that one scene. It's that guy. Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyways.
Good times. Good times.
I know. We're just getting off track here.
We're reminiscing. Sorry. But something did happen this week that you were so excited about. You told me, I'm going to quote you, this is the best DLC mission that I think I've ever played in Destiny.
Exotic mission?
Exotic mission. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
I believe so. I mean, because again, I love Dreadnought stuff. I love how it's put together, and it's a whole new area of the Dreadnought, and it's a pretty cool weapon, and just everything about it. We'll get into it here, but like right now, it's probably easy to say because it's the newest one. But I've had other exotic missions where like, they're okay, but like this one I've loved, and so I'm like, I ran it solo. It took me several hours, like kind of figuring out with other people what the correct steps, and then I finally got everything done. Like for me, it was like mid to late afternoon, and then that's when, like, especially me being over in Mountain Time, the Eastern crew was starting to come online for evening time, and then I'm like messaging people like Sin and you and other people. I'm like, dude, if anyone wants to run this, I'm down to run it again because it was a lot of fun.
I was like, sure, man. Let me run the first part of it so I know what's going on, and then we'll jump in and do it. And you got to tell them how it all began because it was me.
There's some things you got to be ready for. It's not really. It's kind of gated, but like not officially. I mean,
you can call me out. I don't care.
We'll get into that real quick, but the first step is actually people found these blights on the Dreadnought in 2 different zones. That's actually technically the first step, and then we'll get to the things that we had to do to get you up to level. But there was a new blight both either in the Hall of Souls and the Court of Oryx area, kind of like where that subjugator is, like where you first beam in for the King's Fall raid.
Yeah.
Well, if you look up, if you have it, and it's random, you may or may not have it, but if you look up, there's a blight that's not normally there. And if you have that, you just take some invisible platforms up, you jump through it. That's the first step. If it's not there, I recommend you just load out of the instance, load back in again until you get and see it.
That's what Sin had to
one other
do.
place that's what Sin had to do. Or I know you got lucky when you ran it with me. We got it pretty quick.
That's why I wanted to talk about the first part before the second part, because
gotcha.
You said, all right, well, you were like, okay, well, you should see this mission pop up. And I'm like, no. I said, no, I don't see anything. And so let's go to the apartment. Let's look around and look at the apartment, see what it's asking you to do. I said, Kingsley, I haven't hit level 3 yet. I'm 5 points away. 5 points away from level 3 in her apartment, the slab of, I can't remember what it's called, the slab of.
Yeah.
And you have to get to level 4 actually. So Kingsley, as generous as this man is, said, come on, we'll go play some Nether, because that's the only way you can rank up, is to just go play the Nether activity. And we were in there at the Hall of Souls where the Court of Orcs is. And you said, oh, the Blight's up there. Here, jump up there and touch the Blight. And you get transformed into like a mirrored areas where you have to do
like the, what we call the party room, like in the Kingsfall raid where you're fighting mini orcs.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And there's some puzzles in there. I don't know do we want to share? I mean, it's up to you, man. If you want to share the puzzle stuff,
they're pretty easy. We don't have to give a lot of details, but it just kind of, you go on this plate. It tells you to jump off a certain direction, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. There's an arrow
Later
pointing.
they get more advanced. Yeah.
You just have to, you look for your symbol, and it's a symbols thing. And it's also, you have to be facing a certain way and walk a certain way to activate the symbol on the plate or whatever. And that's how you get through it. Yeah. It's pretty simple once you learn how to do it. Well, we'll leave it to you guys.
And I've posted guides, both written and video guides, in the spoiler channel in the Discord. So if you want to check that out. But yeah, you got that Blight luckily pretty quick, because I was running it with you, but I wanted to run it with Sin also. And you guys had different like little things you were getting held up on. So like the next step, like you said, I didn't know this because I was already way past level 4.
You were level 10, right?
Yeah, I was level 10 already.
And I've been
having fun.
I got this rune, and I'm like, you need to put this rune in. I can't remember.
Topic rune.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I said, no, it won't let me do it. I'm not the high enough level yet. And he goes, well, what level are you? I said, I'm 5 points away from 3, or I'm 3.25 now. And you're like, all right, come on, let's go in the Nether some more. And we were, what's good though? I liked that we did that, because I was getting more and more familiar with the activity and the minor boons and the major boons, and getting to know how they work and stuff. And then finally it all came together actually pretty well, because Sin needed, what did Sin need to get done? He needed to get the pages. No, was it pages?
Yeah, he needed to get the pages
for the week story.
Wasn't for the exotic mission, but he needed that anyways. But then after he did that, he was getting held up on getting the Blight. He kept loading in 1,000,000 times. And there's actually one other place you can get the Blight. You can also get in the trenchway when you first load in, way to the left, where like those witches will spawn.
Right.
And he's like, I've loaded in like 10 times and I don't see it. I'm like, well, I don't think you need to do the weekly story, but maybe do that first, and maybe load into private versus, the regular Nether and stuff. And he kept, luckily, he kind of matched up pretty close by the time he finally got the Blight.
We all three ran it.
Time you got to level 4.
We all three went into a private, instance into the Nether, and just as he got his stuff finished, and we went through and finished, I think we had to go through it 3 more times, 3 more rounds of 3 bosses. And on that third one, I had just hit 4 on what I needed to get done. And then we all started, you already run it, of course, but we all 3 started it from scratch. And you want to talk about how it starts out, or?
Yeah, I really like this type of exotic mission. I mean, yeah, it's not like some people will say like the top of the top exotic missions are Whisper and 0 Hour, and I do like those too, but this is an exotic weapon with an exotic mission that's multiple steps. It's not just the exotic mission. And I like things like that, as long as they're not stupid, boring, dumb things we've done 1,000,000 times. Well, yeah, they take us to places that we've been 1,000,000 times, but they really did a good job with it. There was tons of steps, and one of the first steps was going into a couple lost sectors. But I remember you saying, Todd, you were like, oh, I bet we just have to get something at the end. I'm like, nope, it's more interesting than that.
It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. You know how you know how they repurpose a lost sectors where it's just like you got to grab something in there, but no, you had to do some other things. Yeah,
well,
and it was
the
a
lost
whole
sector enemies were different. They were like taken enemies instead of the regular enemies.
Whole new set of enemies. Yeah, I mean, it's like a brand new lost sector. All new enemies, nothing like you're used to seeing. And then when you finally killed it,
plates again.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very good.
You had to you had to like kill interesting little mini bosses and stuff. And so I thought it was good. And they took us around a couple lost sectors. We kind of did that. They started introducing this new mechanic where we start to get taken powers. We get to shoot little like taken balls or whatever energy things out of us.
Sin being a Titan, he was killing everything. I was like, Kingsley, tell Sin to quit stealing all my kills, because you got to charge up the taken power. You have like a semi-automatic zapping gun or something, some kind of anything. Anyway, but he kept killing everything. He was charged up, and I'm sitting there looking for enemies to shoot, and I couldn't get charged up. But we got it in sync, so we ended up getting it done. So yeah, but man,
and you have to kill stuff all around. Like we would go to the Nightmare Hunt, which was the old Skola strike that they made into a Nightmare Hunt, that they made into a repurposed version for this. And then it takes you also even to like on the moon, the Altars of Sorrow area, and you'll see other blueberries out there. If you've gone there and haven't started the exotic mission, you're like, why is there people running around that they look all taken and they're shooting blight balls? Well, that's why, because that's one of the steps, is you need to kill enemies with that in the Altars of Sorrow area.
And I remember Sen was just standing there and got it done from other people playing. As long as you shoot something to get started. Not saying that's the way to play. Don't play passively, but he was just in proximity, and he was able to go grab the thing and dunk it. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Then basically you kind of go back into the Nether one more time. You don't have to do 3 full runs, but you need to get 3 hive statues. And basically they are in 3 different zones. I don't think there's one in Founts. There may be, but there is Mausoleum.
We tried Founts. It wasn't anything there.
Yeah. In fact, I mistakenly thought there was, but when I did it the first time, I got the other 3 zones, but basically Mausoleum, Trenchway, and Hall of Souls. And you basically need to find the hive statue, and it's typical. You go up to it and you can interact with it. Glowy. It gives you like these things. I forget their name, but they look like little crystallized.
They look like crystallized ghosts.
Like ghost shells.
They look like dead ghost shells to me. And
different looking.
And once you activate that totem, whatever you want to call it, that's when the boss and the enemies come out, and you gotta clean all them. Get all those and kill them, and then you can go claim the crystallized ghost or whatever it's called.
Yes.
And then move on to the next step. So.
Yep.
What is that next step?
3 times.
Yep.
And then basically the next step is launching into the exotic mission.
And that's where it's fun.
Yeah. So when you first come in, it's normal area. And it's actually the bottom of the Mausoleum area where you kill the ogre, but you're going reverse. And they throw tons of dread at you. And I wanted to research more and figure out all the lore. Maybe we'll talk about it more next week if there's anything interesting, or people can write and let us know. But there's of course a lot going on this season with Dread versus Taken versus the Oryx and Savathun and Xivu Wrath people. And when you first load in, there's like tons of like subjugators and tormentors and stuff, and pretty impressive, like the amount of ads they just throw at you, and you're killing them for a while and stuff, and then you're doing with that, and you hop up in an area and you kind of run around and do some things, but eventually you get to a halfway point where this mission's pretty long, and most people would assume, oh, it's the final boss, and it's a fun encounter, and it's a pretty big encounter too. And do you remember that was the area out in Trenchway where we're standing up top, but there was like that boss that had different shield, different health gates, and he was a subjugator also. But we had to do interesting mechanics where we were part of the time in regular and then part of the time in the Ascendant plane fighting him.
Is that where we had the Taken weapon in the Ascendant plane?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. That was one of the places again where we had the Taken weapon. So
Mm-hmm.
cool layout, great orchestration on the fight.
Nice.
I always love, like, I'm impressed when fights have like they're put together well, like the orchestration of how and where ads spawn, and then mini bosses and then bosses and everything. And basically there's stuff all over, and you got to like kill like Taken phalanxes to cleanse blights or something like that. There's like 6 of them or so, and then ogres come out and you got to kill those, and they drop a power, and of course the first time you killed it really far away, I'm like, oh, we actually want those guys closer so we don't have to run out and get it.
I think I died going
That's
to get
okay,
it
you
too.
didn't know. And And then you pick up the taken power again, which then you need to charge it, and you're shooting enemies with that taken power. And then it gets charged, and when it charges, you generally deposit it or you do something. And what you would do is you would cleanse or get rid of this huge big blight.
Yep.
And that was 1 of 4. And once you cleanse the 1, then we go into the ascendant plane, and then like those invisible platforms like you would have in Kingsfall Raid or things like that, they start becoming available to walk on, and then we repeat the process. And then the next blight's like way up high, and we get to do just like Kingsfall, where you jump up all high and you jump over and you feel like a god and you slam on the blight and destroy that blight. That's a lot of fun.
Yep.
I think both you and Sin got to experience
we
that,
did.
right?
We did. Yeah. We split it up. Yeah, we both did it. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Just such a fun mission.
A lot of fun. And then just rinse and repeat all that, and then on the other side, and you eventually take down that first boss.
I'm trying to remember which boss.
And then
there's so many yellow part bosses.
I forget what his name was though. I can probably.
Yeah. I know. Okay,
the subjugator.
Yeah.
You know, for the
and it ended up on the trenchway, right? Now where the final mission ended, the trenchway.
Yeah. Yep.
That's right.
Trenchway. Oh, it's Verhisk, Vrhisk, Seeker of Power.
He was definitely different. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really good.
All right, and then you do that, and then the mission is not over. Sorry, 1 second, I'm just writing something here.
Yep.
But basically, then, oh, sorry, somehow I got some sound here. Let me turn that off. Okay. Then it takes us into those little puzzle things again, where you have to stand on plates. But this time, this one took me entirely too long to figure out, and I didn't want to look up a guide or anything. But oh my gosh, sound, stop.
Yeah, you glitched there for just a second.
This tab. All right, I'll just close that tab.
Like I said, we're trying new stuff tonight,
so
guys.
many things on my screen open.
We're trying all kinds of new stuff tonight in the show, so it's gonna might get hairy. So hang with us, guys. Yeah.
We had to like jump on plates again and stuff, but the idea there is you only jump off of it the direction it tells you. If there's like 4 symbols in front of you, kind of like those rune symbols, and you go from left to right. And if the next one you want to do from left to right is the room you're in, then you jump off. Otherwise, you don't want to jump off. You can just wait or jump off the wrong way or whatever. But for some reason, that took me a while to figure that out. But luckily, I gave the tip there, so we got through it faster. And then it started a mini jumping puzzle.
That's what I'm talking about.
Not the big one, but a mini one. Like, again, we're still in the trenchway area, and we start going up really high. And I love this because I remember when Sin and I were exploring around earlier, this really goes to show like everything kind of in the Dreadnought's there for a reason right now. There's been this big blight in the trenchway inside area, not the outside area where it's like way up high on like this rafter ceiling area. And Sin and I jumped up there once, and there was no collectible or anything to do with that blight. But in the mission, there is. You go over there, it kind of takes you over there, and you collect another one of those.
That's where I was with you. I was with you on that part. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And then the blight goes away. And what you find out is the blight was covering like this big column pillar, but like there was a hole in it. And I looked down when I was first running, so I'm like, oh, wow, we're going somewhere interesting, like down this big slide, this big chute.
It was freaky. That was freaky.
It was awesome. And then you go down, and you're in this whole new area. And I think this area, I at least did a little bit of research. It's called the Invasion Bay, I think. And I think the idea is a lot of the Hive tomb ships, you know, back a long time ago, and it's different now, but back when the Dreadnought was being used more by orcs, you know, before everything got messed up, I believe either the Hive tomb ships some may go there and go out, or what's more important is where we ultimately go in the exotic mission, there seems to be like a control room. It's not like the main control room of the Dreadnought, but one for like invading stuff.
Yeah.
But this whole area was amazing. They have like these huge looking Hive drop pods that you don't really see them anymore. But if anyone remembers, they're like what you would see on the moon. And in some areas where this is all Destiny 1 stuff, the idea was that's kind of like, I think, the original way how the Hive got to the moon. I don't know if it was actually the Hive jump ships. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's those things that kind of look like they're pointy on both sides, and then almost like a shrieker, but like, you know, they're wide in the middle and they're pointy on the top and the bottom. But if you look in the moon and on Earth, there's a couple of them that are just in the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they're called hive drop pods or something.
Not to confuse
But
them with
there
the
was a bunch
Cabal
of
ones.
those in there.
Yep. Yeah.
And a bunch of holes and a
Oh my
bunch of.
gosh.
I want you to tell me what you thought about all that holes you could go through and things that might poke you.
You guys remember the dick wall? Yeah, I'll leave it at that. It's more of that. And this isn't like a
But different.
this isn't like
They're
a
not the exact
blunt.
looking.
This
Yeah.
isn't like a blunt instrument. This is very sharp. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a couple times where I got punched. Yeah, that's what when I think about this mission, that's what comes to mind is when we had to go through those holes and avoid the dick wall areas and for lack of a better term. And I remember we had to climb up on some like taken orbs. If I remember, we had to climb these taken orbs. I mean, we really got up there high, and it was just all these areas that I've never seen before of all the years I played on the Dreadnought, and it was just a beautiful mission. Just so beautiful.
Yeah, we would go. There was like screens in between the different areas to go forward, like between these huge taken or hive drop pods and stuff. And then you would look for areas to the right or the left through all these like weird looking bumpy wall areas. And some had holes, and you would be careful because some holes would be like juking you with the spikes, but other holes would be the correct ones. And
the jumping puzzles are tough.
Right or left, and eventually go up higher, but then also eventually shoot some crystals to open up a hive rune screen. And I know there's multiple ways to go. Sin found a different way that was not the way I went the first time.
Right.
He thought it was easier. I don't know if it was easier. Like, the Warlock, we were able to barely get the height, even with burst glide, like barely get the height. And I think the way he took us was maybe not the intended way, but it did work when I'm like, well, here, if we jump on the top of a door frame and then jump on top of a little baby like outcropping that's just barely enough for our feet to stand on, then we can get the height. But I don't think that was the intended way to get up there, but maybe it was.
We figured it out.
But we made it.
We got up there. Yeah, the jumping puzzle was very intricate and very, very subtle, and it didn't give you any easy ways to get the stuff. You had to kind of look around and try stuff. What
do you think about it? Because I know sometimes you don't love jumping puzzles. It wasn't too bad,
I don't.
right?
I don't mind jumping puzzles. My buddy, Mr. Monkey, hated jumping puzzles. I used to razz him all the time about it. I love jumping puzzles because I love strafe glide, and I love to just sit there and hover and look and see where I need to. That's the one thing I love about being a Warlock main is you can hover and survey an area even around a corner and then come back around, and you just have so much air time that you can kind of get an overhead view of everything. And I never really had any problems with jump puzzles. But man, what a fun mission. And in the very last, when you're, the very last room where you finally kill the last boss, you go and grab something up there near him. And when you grab that, guess what? Boom, you get the Barrow-Dyad just like that. But you still got to finish the mission.
The mission still goes. You got to
still
kill
got to
him.
finish. You got to kill him. And I mean, we had 3 killers in there, so it wasn't too difficult. I wanted to ask you, what do you think if someone had, just a fire team of 3, how long do you think it would take to get done for people maybe asking about that? If they were to jump
if everyone was on the right step to actually move forward, so you got to be at least level 4 on the bar and whatnot. But I would say if you pumped through it quickly, maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours.
It's about what it took us.
Maybe less. I don't know. I it's hard to say because the mission's a wild card. I haven't really timed how long it would take people, and remember, it's a long mission, and then you got to do several steps before that. So, but if you're going solo and taking your time and not getting good luck on different zones for getting the hive statues or getting the blights, it could easily take 3-4 hours or more.
Yeah. And what do you have you tried the weapon, the Barrow-Dyad?
Yeah, of course.
What do you think of it? What do you think of it?
Cool. I mean, I don't know if I'll be maining it. I want to try it enough to see. I mean, it seems pretty stable for an SMG. It's strand, which is cool, and then it also has taken properties where it has blight seekers if you reload it, or blight power if you shoot 3 enemies in a row. And I haven't really been able to figure out, like, does this feel more powerful than other things that's worth keeping on? But also, we have to remember that this is the first week of it, and it has different intrinsic perks and catalysts. And
Right.
we're all time gated on this, where we can only get to step 5 of the after quest, which to get the catalyst, which just basically you're collecting more of those crystallized things in the dreadnought.
Mhm.
But Bungie did confirm that you won't be able to get to the rest of it until Act 2, unfortunately.
Right.
I don't know why they decided to do that, sometime gating, but whatever. We're all kind of in that boat, so no one can get the catalyst yet for it.
And speaking of catalyst, I did get the Queensbreaker bow catalyst playing comp this last Monday, so I still need to go get
On that
kills with it.
topic real quick,
Yeah, man.
because I know you have weapons you want to talk about.
Yes, I do.
Queensbreaker is truly one of the metas right now for DPS, the best option for range DPS. Now, the shotgun is probably one of the best options for which shotgun was that again? The Lord of Wolves?
Lord of Wolves is still broken.
But Queensbreaker is pretty much because of a few reasons, being it's a fusion, right?
Linear.
Yeah. Linear fusion. Well, fusions and linear fusions have that artifact perk this season, which buffs them.
Yep.
Plus, fusion's got a buff anyways. I forget if linear fusion's got a buff. Plus, it's like arc or something, so there's like some things there. So I've heard about this for a while, that Queensbreaker is the meta, and I was watching some of the members in a raid last night and just seeing how quick things were melting. It truly is the meta right now.
Yeah.
Not even everyone had Queensbreaker with the catalyst. I forget how many did. And even with just the amount that they had, let's say it was 3 or 4 people that had it. I don't even know if it was that many people,
right?
But they were able to easily one phase orcs without even hardly a sweat.
Yep.
So, and before the best option was Whisper with Catalyst. And with that, even with our crew, we were able to one phase it once, but it's super hard. Like you have to have everything perfect. And usually you would like 2 phase it, but you almost one phase it with Whisper. But speaking of Whisper, it's what I kind of felt like this mission was kind of resembled. A lot of hidden areas, a lot of jumping areas and stuff. It's not the same as Whisper, obviously, but I got that Whisper vibes when I ran the Whisper at early Destiny 2. Got that kind of the same kind of vibes where you had to figure out where to go and where to jump and where it was safe. And oh, really? Yeah, we have
really
a question
great story.
from Grackle. Is it true you need some RNG on your side to even start the mission? I've loaded in another several times and no blight to suck me in. Yes, that's true. I did post again a guide in case you're like second guessing anything in the spoilers channel, and you do need that blight, which is somewhat RNG, but but it's not that bad. Like I got it fairly quick. Gator got it. And see, the thing too is if you don't get it, you load in a zone, and if you're in one of the zones where it's supposed to be, load right back out and load back in. Especially if you're doing it on private instance, you're not bothering anyone by doing that.
Yeah.
So I would say, even though this part is somewhat RNG for the blight, you're not going to have a problem. It's not a concern at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good question. Yeah.
I mean, Sin had a little bit of maybe Sin will beg to differ, but I think most people, if you know where to look for the blights, and if you just load out and load back in, it's not going to be a big deal to find it.
Sin's an aggressive player, man. He moves fast. He doesn't mess around, man. He doesn't want to explore. He just wants to get it done. I've gamed with him before.
Partial impatience, he says, and partial being a Titan. I'm used to it too. And we would used to laugh too when like we're in raids and we see him die from being super aggressive. Now Titans are more suited for that, but still when we see him like jumping off a cliff accidentally or dying because he went too bleep deep, if you know what I mean. And we would always like, Sin, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm just, too impatient to sit back and go slow. So,
well, like I said,
Titans are like that often. I was lovingly poking on HD Tech the other night too. He's also that same style where he'll just push forward. And I think they were trying to do the jumping puzzle in the Dickwall area, and he would just push forward and kind of, from experience, know where the platforms were supposed to be, and they'd appear at the last second, but he wouldn't always land on him. Like, well, if you just slow down a little and pull out your ghost if you have to, you'll be able to land on it instead of just guess where they're going to be. But people get impatient playing this game at times. Everyone has different play styles. I probably play like way more passively than people would like. I'm not like super passive. I'm not like always back to the map, but whenever I go to a new room or new arena, I'm always playing my life. I'm always like, I like to explore things, look around. And my first goal, especially if I get somewhere new, is like, okay, where might ads spawn in and where is some cover, because
Right.
I do not like to die. I like to play my life, and I make sure I have safe spots I can run to or get to right away, rather than just push forward, kill everything, and then if I die, oh well, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, I thought it was a lot of fun. What do I hear?
Have you tried the weapon much?
I have not tried the weapon yet. When I got it that night, I went to bed because we had been playing. Yep. We've been playing a lot. So yeah, we've been playing a lot.
Well, let us know what you think, people. Like if you've hopped in the mission, both the mission itself and the weapon, what you think, or if you haven't, and then you hop in it later and then do it, then let us know. And if anyone needs help with it, like I'm willing to run it again, because I thought it was a lot of fun.
It was a great amount of fun. I'm glad you decided to run it with me, because there was a lot of steps, man. There's a lot of stuff that I had to get done in there, and I don't know if I would have been able to find it all myself without someone who's already run it before. So,
yeah. Tajo says, like, the weapon itself, I think we can all agree on that. It's all right. It will be better once the catalyst is released. I mean, it's not going to be a DPS meta for any reason. And as far as like just a general tool, especially with the catalyst, it could be pretty good. We'll have to see. We'll have to regroup on it.
Yeah.
And then he also gives the mission an A+. So yeah,
I thought it was very good. Definitely. So, okay. Well, we got so much to cover tonight. I need to make sure we keep moving. I'm going to try to keep this train going. We got a lot of information to pump out here. First thing we need to do, though, is we do need to just check in the TWAB, make sure there's something we need to mention to people this week. But I have to take my mandatory bathroom break. I'm sorry. I have to take it. I've too much beer tonight. So I'm going to put it into our intermission mode here real quick. There'll be a little video on the screen you guys can look at in chat, and we'll be right back. Just give us a couple minutes. All right.
I guess I might as well too. I don't totally need to.
Yeah,
since we'll be talking.
I'm hopping over here. So yeah, just one sec, guys, and we'll be right back. We are back. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Yeah, I had a little bit too much beer tonight.
Am I going to try trials with the new changes, Kingsley, for Taja? I mean,
yeah,
I've been in trials a few times in the past, and I even had a team bring me to the lighthouse once. I mean, no, I mean, these changes for not caring about PvP, it doesn't mean I'm refusing to go in. I mean, I might at some point if maybe I'll join with Gator or something just for funsies or you or whoever. But for not being a PvP player, they could change everything in the world. And even though these are all good changes, I agree, they're not exciting to get me in.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, there's a few things in the Discord, the TWAB we need to just go over real quick. Yeah. Okay. All right, here we go. 3, 2. Okay, this week in Destiny for February 13th, 2025. I hear an echo somewhere. I swear I can hear it, but okay. This week in Destiny, we have a new exotic mission available, which we just talked about. Have you completed it yet? If you are still focusing on the dungeon that launched on Friday, completing expert runs of the Nether, or trying to get some of the new PvP Vanguard or Gambit weapons, who can blame you? There's a lot to do. With that in mind, we'll try not to take too much of your time with today's topics. First of all, I did want to talk about the dungeon champions that did win the day one event. What an amazing feat. The first team to reach the last encounter was also the team that won the Sundered Doctrine dungeon race. Congratulations one more time to Biggs, Mario Monkey, and Luigi Style. Watching you three get the win was incredible. Your names shall forever be remembered among the Destiny community, and you'll be rewarded for your feat with a unique trophy, which we've showed those several times. For the rest of the players that played through the weekend, you're amazing. Contest mode was no joke, and whether you completed the dungeon or not, you should be incredibly proud of your achievements. For those of you who just waited to play in the normal mode, we hope you're enjoying the dungeon and come back to discover more secrets in the next few weeks. All right. They did say for those who want to keep challenging themselves, Master difficulty is now available. You can also complete it solo and flawlessly. Holy crap. We heard bolt charges helping a lot with DPS. That and Anarchy is working like a charm. And that of the Queenbreaker. Funny about the Anarchy. We'll be talking about that later with Dimwie.
Yep.
So
they also confirmed the Queenbreaker meta is full on also.
Also, they are extending the contest mode extension. If you guys remember, PlayStation had some problems. People couldn't sign in during parts of that day. So they said they'll be announced at a later date. Note that this is not an extension of the contest race, but rather an additional opportunity for those impacted by the outage to attempt to clear the dungeon while in contest mode. So that's what that's about. They have they talk about the new exotic weapon, which here, I'll go ahead and share the screen here real quick. This is the new exotic submachine gun we just talked about. Pretty weird looking weapon, man. I don't know.
Yeah, you get used to it pretty quickly if you're running it. I don't know I don't really care one way or the other on how it looks so much,
exactly.
but
exactly.
But it is interesting.
Well,
again, it may not be the best weapon, but it'll be getting better, and the mission's definitely worth it though to get.
The new Trials of Osiris arrives tomorrow. So tomorrow, a new chapter begins in Trials of Osiris. This is our biggest update to the game mode since it was brought back to Destiny 2. Matchmaking has been tuned. Passages work in a totally different way. You only need 7 wins. Win, lose, or draw. 7 wins. So, yeah. Amazing Taco King. I'm not ignoring work right now. Watching live. Yeah, man. I hear you.
Nice.
Thanks for joining. This is really weird. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Okay, so tomorrow over the weekend, as you're hearing this podcast, so Friday through the weekend, but Iron Banner's is back next week. And look at this weapon.
Next Tuesday through the next week,
And it's only 1 week, guys. They did change it back to it's only 1 week. So along with the increased Crucible rep gains, next week we'll see a return of Iron Banner. Remember that the Saladin has dropped, changed schedules, and has moved tailoring PvP event to the 2 weeks, from the 2 weeks to 1 week. So, wow, this is pretty cool. We have a new contender, an adaptive frame arc trace rifle. called Warlord Spear with perk combos for PvE as interesting as Rewind Rounds. See, I said it right. And Detonator Beam. Detonator Beam for PvE.
Okay, so
yeah, what is...
I may actually hop in this time to Iron Banner to get this weapon.
Did you hear it, folks? You heard it here first. Clip that. Clip that if you're in YouTube. Yeah, I mean, this...
look, I like trace rifles, and it's going to be a legendary art one and some good perks. So there you go.
Well, for PvP, they said dynamic sway and desperate measures. No, we'll see. Yeah. The other new reward is a reprise peace bond. I used to love this sidearm. It's a three burst. And it has an adaptive frame, stasis sidearm, Zen Moment, Desperado. Don't have those on my old ones. Make a great combo for PvP. And although others might be more interested in the Lone Wolf Headseeker, can't wait to see how you guys do with it. Oh yeah, I'm definitely going for that one. That's for sure. If you're busy this week and can't play Iron Banner much, don't worry. It'll be back several more times during the episode. The very next one being April 1st. Oh, I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
Well,
this is really good.
That's only like from when the next one's going to start. That's only a couple weeks after.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, sorry, March. Why am I forgetting the month of March?
Dude, I don't want summer to be here that quick.
A little over a month.
Yeah,
just a little over a month.
Right. Okay. Bungie.net account link unlinking update. We have an important update regarding linking on Bungie.net for that time now. We have allowed players to link multiple authentication methods to a single Bungie.net profile. We will continue to allow linking accounts in this manner, but we are taking away the option to unlink an account once it's been linked to your Bungie ID. The only exception will be Twitch. So love is in the air. This week we introduced a new cosmetic category called Hollow Chips. When activated, I did get this. It adds a visual effect such as energy traits or energy trails or holographic wings to your Guardian. They'll add an extra flair to your fashion, but they don't impact gameplay. Similarly, they just make it easier to shoot in Crucible. Similarly, they'll be hidden when you enter combat to avoid visual. Okay, there we go. It won't show up in Crucible. There we go. Good.
Yeah, they won't.
Okay,
and PVE also, like when you're in the middle of a fight. They're only when you're like
just stuck in a tower.
There's not enemies around.
Yeah, like in the pub social
areas. Well, it can be out in the world too, but
yeah,
they just can't be enemies around you.
Okay. The first Hollow Chip is available in Eververse right now. I just did get it. You can head to the store and claim one for free. Once consumed, Hollow Chips are active for the next 12 real-world hours. If you want to end the effect early, there's a Hollow Chip extractor available in the collections where you can disable it. Yeah. Players who want to unlock the effect permanently can purchase the Hollow Cup for only $8, 800 silver. When you do, the Hollow Chip will become available in collections that can be claimed anytime for free. All right. Okay. Whatever. More Bungie rewards. Looks like there's a disc plate here of the new exotic. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
It's always nice. I love those 3D looking. They have a ring for Trials of Osiris. I'm going to just breeze through this. Some more apparel. Man, that's a pretty badass sweatshirt right there. Yeah. Let's see. They've got some more art books, for the coffee table. I don't have a coffee table, but I keep them right here in the background. So we got some new art books coming out. That's pretty cool. Fashion Week. Here is more ideas that you can look at in the TWID. Yeah, I'm not going to read through these. You guys, they've been doing it like every few TWABs, giving you ideas on stuff for art. We'll leave it at that.
Yep.
Something else for you might be a fun treat because it's very cool. You also, because you won't shut up, stop asking for it. Here is a first ever ornament for Verity's brow because it needs one bad. That looks good. I like that. I will definitely be getting that. You won't get it till the codename Frontiers. All right, whatever. It's got lasers coming out of its eyes. That's badass. Black History Month. It is the month of February. So the emblem is available again. I got mine a long time ago, but in honor of Black History Month, everyone that makes a $10 donation to the Southern Poverty Law Center through the Bungie Foundation campaign will earn the Be Heard emblem for Destiny 2 through February 28th. That's the end of the month. All net proceeds go to the Southern Poverty Law Center. Minus Tiltify and payment processing fees. So yeah, you're gonna have that too. $2.7 million with Game to Give. Outstanding, guys. That is
Yeah.
impressive. Very, very impressive. All right, Kingsley, this is your cue. Player support
Yeah.
report. We got anything in here to worry about?
Well, potentially, but also even today, a few things were announced, and there's
Yes.
actually quite a few things, and I want
Yeah.
to go over.
Go for it.
So there's quite a few actually.
Okay.
That's okay. But I think I'm just kind of about interesting things. We won't go through everything, but they identified an issue with Lodestar, the new exotic primary
Really?
trace rifle, has
Okay.
way more aim assist than intended.
Don't
So
touch
right
it.
now it's disabled in PvP modes, but it's still available in PvE. Actually, it's even in Gambit turned off because of that, but all other PvE, it's fine. They found that Finality's Augur, which is the exotic in the Sundered Doctrine,
Yeah, saw that.
isn't dropping as expected. So even though you could get a guaranteed drop if you did contest mode, people are figuring out that it's basically not dropping as expected normal mode. Even RNG expected. You know what I mean? Sometimes we found bugs where even Bungie's RNG isn't working correct.
And I saw that tweet.
Team.
They tweeted that they're working on it. They're discussing how they should address it. So
yeah, they may need to fix. They may be able to fix it as soon as tomorrow, as of where we're recording this on Thursday. But still, it's something to keep in mind.
All right.
And then, they said here their target for doing the contest mode, because even though it wasn't in the TWID, maybe Saturday, February 22nd.
Okay.
It'll be re-enabled for 24 hours.
That's a date.
They're also gonna help with some underlying issues preventing the exotic from spawning in normal master difficulty. Yep, they already said that. And then I'll go back to the TWID. Definitely not going to read all these, but a couple interesting things. Let's see here. I feel like there was something that was interesting to me.
They said the Tome of One Prime request was not progressing after meeting step 3. Mine did.
Yeah.
Mine worked. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The Ionic Sentry Arc Warlock aspect does not synergize properly with exotics and other parts of the Arc subclass. So that's a little vague. I mean, I'm sure I can figure out more what that means. It seems good and powerful, but I guess there's some extra synergies it's supposed to have with some exotics that aren't happening.
Okay.
Vaulted Glass stuff. Fatebringer doesn't have a socket for mementos. Crafted Vaulted Glass weapons incorrectly allow deep sight harmonizers to be used.
Yeah.
Does that mean that's a good thing?
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, there's a few things here.
Yeah, okay.
All in all, I feel like the game's running pretty smooth, but also there's definitely issues if you run into any of these. Just check them out. Bungie has a known issues page.
Yep.
You can check out the TWID. Otherwise, just know that at various different times, shit will be broken.
Thank you, sir. I was hoping you'd say that. All right, good deal. I don't want to have to say it every week, so it's good that you're adopting that. Thank you.
I'm not going to say it every week myself, but I don't mind it sometimes.
Yeah. Some really good art here. That's a nice, I think looks like pencil even, maybe. There's some movies of the week. It's all back there. We hope you're enjoying the challenges in front of you during these first few weeks of Heresy. There's plenty of time to go through everything. Just gather your friends, put on your best builds, and get on with them. Remember, you arcade's favorites, Savior of Soul, Scour, Scourge of the Hive Pantheon, Wielders of Light and Darkness, and overall, a quite intimidating group. Yeah, especially if you're with Sin. Damn. Thank you, Traveler. You are on our side. Destiny 2 community team. Thank you, Destiny 2 community team, as usual, for communicating with us every week. And speaking of builds, I think we got some builds to talk about, Kingsley, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got some info coming back your way, guys. So we're going to do that right after this. All right. This is one of the new things we're going to try to do. So here we go. Let's get back to the screen here. And I'm going to just turn it over to you as far as the builds. And then
if you're trying to build it at the same time, do I wait after I mention something for you to tell me you're ready? Because I don't want to go too fast and you don't.
Well, just step by step. Tell me what armor exotic you're going to use. We'll start with that.
Yeah.
Because I've got probably the one you don't want on. So I'll swap it around. But I'm sure
I wrote out notes in a particular order, so I may not do armor exotic first, but I'll try to go slow enough that it makes sense. The problem is that I need to be looking at my notes and looking at my screen,
No.
so I can't really look at your
No,
screen.
no, no,
Also
no.
to
I'm gonna.
see how slow our casts are going.
Unfortunately, actually, I'm gonna share my screen, so those of you in the Discord will
Yeah.
be able to see it as well. So I'm gonna try it. It's something new we're trying tonight, and hopefully it's gonna work. So let me do this first.
Actually, I can make my notes half screen size here, so I can see your YouTube a little bit.
Okay.
And then I'm going to, I'll go through my notes. If I go too fast, you can just say hold or
Right.
whatever.
Okay.
And then I'll have my game up so I can kind of go through it too.
Let me see if it's gonna let me share my screen.
I'm ready whenever you are.
Share my screen. Here we go. We'll keep it to yeah, we'll go 60. I got enough bandwidth.
So you're sharing in Discord too, or just,
Yep,
or just
right,
YouTube?
right now.
Okay.
Just went live.
Then I'll view it in Discord.
There we go. Should be
There
able
we
to see
go.
it in Discord now. I won't be able to
That'll
see
be
the
quicker
chat,
than
but
YouTube.
yeah, and unfortunately won't be able to see Kingsley because I've changed everything in the Discord. But I'm going to switch over to
Okay.
Our screen.
Don't need to see me right now.
No. Well, as long as they can hear us, that's all that matters.
Yep.
But
exactly.
yeah, let me get this on right. There we go.
Is it zoomed in too much?
Yeah, it's
on the YouTube one. I'm only seeing part of your screen.
Yeah, hold on a sec. Let me
Discord's good, but
I'll see if I can fix this real quick before we go live here. Reset transform. There we go.
I can't hide money with the TIE fighter.
Is that better? Is that better?
Yep. Let's see. Let me go to YouTube again. Yeah, looks fine
Better?
on YouTube.
Okay. You'll get to see all my little icons in my computer, but that's all right.
I mean, there's a little bit of the top right not showing.
Really?
But
Okay.
it may be enough to see everything.
Okay.
There we go. Now I see everything.
It's delayed. Sorry. It's gonna be a little delayed. So there we go. Okay. All right, good deal. All right. So you in the stream can see my game right now. So can you hold on? Sorry, you couldn't hear Kingsley in the stream. I get it. He was muted for some reason. So yeah, you should be able to hear Kingsley now. And
hopefully you can hear me in the stream.
Yep. And everyone should be able to see my game in the Discord as well, right? I'm not looking at chat, so you'll have to communicate to Kingsley.
I see it in the Discord, so you're fine there. I'll let you know if anything happens there.
Okay. All right, here we go.
I just need to know if anyone in YouTube still can't hear me or whatever, but
we should be able to. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, let's push forward.
Do it. All right, here we go. 3, 2. Okay, in our evolution of our podcast, we're trying new things, and tonight we're definitely going to try new things. I've got my game up here live, and Kingsley we're gonna actually put a build together live on the show. Kingsley has a new build for his Warlock that he wants to share, and I'm gonna slowly build it here as he mentions it. Let me make sure. There we go. I got my game open. I should be good to go, and we're gonna put it together right now, live. So, Kingsley, I'm going to pull my character up right here. And I know this is probably not what you want, but what exotic would I need to use on my armor slot first? We'll start there.
On this build, it does not matter. In fact, what you probably want to use is the Warlock Bond, solipsism, from the...
oh, I don't know. Which one?
Final shape. And you can do a lot of different options. What I ended up doing was Spirit of Apotheosis and Spirit of Star Eater.
Okay.
Because Apotheosis is really good with this build because that gets you more melee and grenade regeneration after your super ends.
Okay.
But Star Eater, just increases your super with Orbs of Power. But you could do you could do...
I'm going to pull up my demo.
Actually, what I meant to do, again, this doesn't matter. This is the least important part of the build.
Okay.
I meant to actually also consider Spirit of Assassin, actually, because that powered melee final blows will grant you invisibility, because this build is very heavy on melee, which is weird for a Warlock. But you may not like it, people, and it's going to be different for Gator. It's even different for me, but it's pretty cool if you get used to it.
Well, let's just say I'm just going to use my Getaway Artist. I'll keep that for now. But just know you guys can put.
Except that doesn't with the other perks. I don't think Getaway Artist is going to work with.
All right, so I do have Syntheseps and Ophidian. Weapons ready.
It doesn't matter which solipsism you use.
Okay,
so
good.
Just
okay, all right.
Everyone,
All right, good. I'll do that real quick. Here we go. I got.
Like I said, that's the least important part of the build.
Okay, gotcha. Now,
And I didn't make up this build on my own. It's shout out to Plunder the Booty.
okay.
But when I was going through this and we were talking about builds, I have a pure arc build that I really like also. And I was going to recommend that build. However, this is a newer build that came out, and you can do this on Prismatic. And I knew that Gator would be very happy about that. And also, I'm happy to try it out. And, you know, they did buff the Chaos Reach, you know, with the boots, and I've been running that super for a while, and it's very powerful. But it'll be nice to be. I'm going to try Prismatic for a bit. You can do this build with pure arc also, but I'm going to try it on Prismatic for a bit to see how it goes.
Okay, you want to try Prismatic? Okay, we'll start with there. What do you want me to put together?
We are going to start with that.
So I want to go. Go Storm Trance.
So the super doesn't matter again. Okay. You can do, if you want DPS, you can do Nova Bomber, Needle Storm. Okay. If you want just really good neutral games, Song of Flame is kind of the best option because that buffs you and people around you with Radiant.
Sounds good. All right.
And it's kind of a get out of jail free card too, where it makes you super damage resistant. So it can be good for like during DPS phases
like
or
restoration
or whatever.
Okay.
Yep. So the super doesn't matter. The exotic doesn't really matter. That's what's so versatile about this build.
Nice.
Now, one thing I want to mention real quick, and then I'll get into some more of these things. This gives you really good damage resistance. Most builds, everyone should have 100% resilience, right? Mm-hmm. And that alone is 30% damage resistance. But this build's going to go heavily into Amplified. Amplified gives you a 15% damage resistance on top of that. Plus, they buffed it recently where ads don't lock onto you as easily. So just the fact that you're really fast and ads aren't locking onto you, that alone is another damage resistance because they can't hit you as easily.
Right.
And there's going to be even more things I'm going to talk about with some fragments here that give you even more damage resistance. So this build and is kind of like one of the best Warlock damage resistance builds you can have.
Ooh, can't wait. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So first we'll go with the class ability doesn't matter. I really like Phoenix Dive, but you can do what you want on that. The jump doesn't matter.
Yep.
The what's really recommended for the melee is Arcane Needle because that synergizes into the build.
Gotcha.
And that's a really good one anyways. Okay. And then Storm Grenade is really recommended for the grenade.
Okay, got it.
For the aspects, you are going to do Feed the Void because there is some synergy with the Devour.
Okay.
And then you're going to do Lightning Surge, which we don't often do. And again, this is one that was buffed recently.
Okay.
Also.
All right.
So Lightning Surge got a buff where basically how this works, and don't worry, I'll go through more of the build later, but what you're doing is when you have an empowered melee, you're sliding, so run and slide into a group of enemies, and then you punch. Maybe like, oh, that sounds hard, but it's not that bad. Like I was practicing some earlier, and just try to remember to slide near enemies and then do your empowered melee, and you do this really cool blink forward move. It's like a blink on the ground, and it calls down lightning strikes that jolt targets, and it adds stacks of bolt charge,
which is the new.
And it has a 30% increase of damage than it did before. So if you see a group of enemies, even like yellow bars and stuff, you can play your Warlock now more like a Titan. You run in, you slide, you do your empowered melee, you blink, you apply jolt on them, you get bolt charges, and you have super damage resistance, and you do 30% increased damage on them.
Hey, y'all, just forget Titan and Hunter. Just come on over to Warlock, guys. We're so versatile. We can do everything. Okay, I got my aspects. I got my abilities.
We'll talk about fragments. So, play around with that lightning surge. Try that slide melee. You might like it.
Now, I don't have all the fragments, just letting you know. So
that's okay.
It looks like I got to get rid of one of my. I'm losing a slot, so it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 available.
Yeah, fragments. 5 is what you do for this build.
Okay, all right.
And 5 is all you need. So let's start with. Let me see here real quick. One other thing. The reason why you have Devours, if you slide in and do that power, you will also proc Devour at the same time. So that's why, yeah, feed the void. So,
Nice.
there's other ways to proc Devour, but this build will not focus on void weapons as much. It'll do Strand. I'll tell you why, but it doesn't matter. You'll still get the Devour with that slide melee move.
Okay.
So you don't even need to worry about void weapons. And there's Strand weapons will be better for what I'm talking about.
Nice.
Okay, first, a fragment. Facet of, let's see here. I'm looking at my notes. Sorry, 1 second.
Sure.
Facet of Awakening.
Got it.
So Facet of Awakening and Facet of Balance.
Okay, I got both those.
All right. And these two aren't as important in the build, but these two will just synergize all the abilities back again, okay?
Okay.
But they're still good to have. Now, these next three are super important for the build. Facet of Courage. We'll start with that one. That one just basically gives you extra damage.
Courage. Let me make sure I got it here. Courage.
Yeah. You can see that your Arc, Solar, and Void abilities, and this has a lot of Arc because of the Grenade and the Amplify, and then it has the Void with the Devour. Also, your Prismatic Grenade is a combo Void, and I forget what it's Void and what for the Prismatic Grenade.
Void, Solar. It's got a Solar Healing Grenade.
Stasis. Void and Stasis.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's why this Void for Facet of Courage buffs with it well.
Okay. So Facet of Courage. Okay.
You got that? Okay. The fourth one, Facet of Dominance.
Dominance. Okay. Let me make sure. I have to make sure it's not one that I haven't unlocked yet. Dominance.
I can't believe you haven't unlocked all these yet.
I got to go to the Pale Heart and finish it up. I got to do the ghost stuff. Dominance. Looking for it. There it is.
Especially if you like Prismatic, you should get all these unlocked.
I know, man. It's on my list. I got them all from my other. No, I actually got my. Go ahead.
Okay, so Facet of Dominance makes your grenade stronger, basically.
Okay.
You can see your Void grenades weaken targets and your Arc grenades jolt targets, and we're going to be dealing with the Arc grenade here.
Awesome.
And then Facet of Protection is the last one.
Protection.
And this is basically another 15% damage reduction. Because it says when you're surrounded by combatants, you're more resistance, and plus when you're transcendent, the effect is even increased. So you get 30% damage resistance from your 100% resilience, 15% from Amplify, and then another 15% from Facet of Protection.
Nice.
And then if you're transcendent, you get another like 30% or something like that. I forget the exact number.
Okay. All right, we got all that.
Okay,
we're good to go.
Got all that.
Using Solar, a Song of Flame as our super. All right.
I can go with the mods next if you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, let's start with the seasonal artifact jet. With these builds, they're always interesting. Like, the builds don't always require mods in the seasonal artifact, but they tend to talk about which ones are the best at the time.
Okay.
And kind of right now, the mods that really synergize with this build, one would be Unraveling Orbs. That's the second column over, bottom one, because picking up an Orb of Power grants Strand Weapons Unraveling Rounds. Okay. You don't have to turn it on right now.
Yeah, I got it. No, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save this build. So, okay, Unraveling Orbs, got it.
All right. Next, Dielectric, the third column over, second from the top.
Okay.
Dielectric, defeating Arc debuff targets grants a bolt charge.
Okay.
That's a good one for any type of Arc stuff.
All right, got it.
All right, next, the fourth column over, Flash Over, and Horde Shuttle. They're the middle ones.
Okay. It's really hard for me pulling.
What Flash Over does is when you get maximum bolt charge, you become amplified, so that just helps you get amplified.
Nice.
And lightning bolts deal more damage.
Horde Shuttle, right?
And then Horde Shuttle. Horde Shuttle damaging unraveled targets with a weapon occasionally spawns a threadling.
Okay.
You don't have to have any of these, but they're good to have.
Nice. Okay.
All right.
Is that it?
Yep. Yeah, you missed Flash Over if you want to turn that
Flash
on.
Over.
Maybe turn off.
Got you.
Maybe turn off Deadful Finisher and.
Okay, fine.
Flash Over's down by the
yeah, I see it. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, let's go to mods real quick, and then we're basically done.
Okay.
All right, for mods, again, some of these can be somewhat flexible, but for the helmet, what's also interesting about this is all you really need is 100 resilience, because all your other abilities just kind of come back so fast that you don't really need to worry about melee or grenade as much, but
Okay.
make sure you have at least 100 resilience. So if you can put in more, this is a lot more flexible build, so you're going to be putting less general mods, like more like, you know, things on that first slot, and instead filling up with other things. So like on the helmet, I'm using an arc siphon, which is a 3 power.
Okay. Arc siphon.
You're probably gonna have to turn off
Yep.
turn off all your resilience and other things for now, because you're not
Yep.
going to be able to fit them in. If you
Okay.
do, keep
No,
them on.
I should be good.
You can add resilience later if you need.
So arc siphon, got it.
Okay. We're on the helmet
Yeah.
still, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Oh, that's right. I'm on looking at the YouTube. Arc siphon, hands on, and special ammo finder.
Hands on.
So I'll start talking about these, and then I'll name them again. Arc siphon, it's obvious because arc final blows create an orb of power.
Mm-hmm.
And then hands on is gain bonus super energy on melee kills. You're going to be meleeing a lot with this build.
Okay.
And that's the one with the little fist and the things around it. And then special ammo finder is pretty important, having special ammo for this build.
Okay.
Okay. Then we can move on to the arms.
Okay.
Melee kickstart. These are all 3s also, so if you need to take off the first one.
That's fine.
Melee kickstart, collecting an orb of power causes you to gain 1 armor charge.
Mm-hmm.
And then that can just help out with that. And then heavy-handed and... Actually, wait, did I read this right? I have 2 heavy-handeds. Sorry, let
Double
me
up on
see. I'm going to look here real quick. Oh, yeah, it is 2 heavy-handeds, yep.
So double up on heavy-handed.
Because your powered melee creates orbs of power, and since you're doing that so much, you want 2 heavy-handeds.
Got it. Okay.
All right. Then for your chest piece, that can just be your resistances, you know, whatever you want on that. So those are always meant to be flexible depending on the activity you go into. So we don't even need to explain it, but you know, if you go into activities that have void and solar, you'll put those on, or concussive dampener or whatever you want. So this is just flexible there. For the boots is also one of those things where, like, maybe if you're in a raid or a dungeon, you want to put on weapon surge mods. But if you are in just general content and don't need that extra oomph for a weapon surge, then actually what I recommend is 3 mods here. They're all pretty basic ones. You got Invigoration, that's only a 1 power. Reduces melee cooldown each time you pick up an aura of power. So again, you're getting your melee back really quick.
Got it.
Absolution, which is a 3.
Got it.
Again, it reduces all ability cooldowns each time you pick up an orb of power.
Okay.
And then Recuperation, a 1, replenishes health each time you pick up an orb of power.
And recuperation is like a chunk of health
symbol.
Instantly. Yeah. It'll get you out of some tough situations. Yep. Okay. And I'll put
All right. And then on the bond, recommended to have Bomber. That's the 1. Reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability.
Mm-hmm.
And then Distribution, that's a 3. Reduces all ability cooldowns when using your class ability and your targets.
Got it.
And then Outreach, a 1, reduces melee cooldown when using your class ability.
Very nice. All right.
Now
99. I'm at 99.
Nice. I mean, yeah,
figures.
100 would be a lot better, but you could put on like a minor resilience mod somewhere.
I did have it
Or
on my
do you have
bond.
any with the +3 power? You know what I mean? You can
Let's see here.
do that.
Actually, how did you get 3 mods in here without having to use an armor mod?
Which one are you talking about? The helmet?
On the helmet, yeah. I'm looking at the helmet right now. How did you get? You just have to have high stat armor, I guess. I mean, I have pretty high stat armor.
No, you don't. Yeah. Well, again, like I said, the only piece of stat that's important for this build is resilience. If you get resilience to 100, you don't need to worry about grenade or melee abilities.
And just go through your armor. You can go to a D2 armor picker and just put your stat. You want your combinations at 100 resilience, and it'll give you all the combinations out of your vault. It's the greatest thing ever. And actually, I think Dim has actually integrated D2 armor picker into its AI, its UI now. So yeah, you can do it that way. So yeah, just make sure whatever that you have 100 resilience or close enough to it. Yeah. So
one last thing on this build, on the weapon stuff. It's flexible with weapons. However, it is highly recommended to have, you need to have some kind of a strand weapon to synergize with this. And you know what's really good right now? I know you don't like fusion rifles, but scatter signal is really recommended for that top slot.
I got one of those.
Because again, fusion's got buffed recently.
Scatter signal.
And slice and controlled burst scatter signal
looking
is just doing damage.
I got it crafted, in fact. There it is.
All right, yeah, so look for slice and controlled burst scatter signal.
Well, I'll have to go rebuild mine, but
that's okay. That's okay. You don't have to use it on the top slot, but I recommend it. But you need at least one strand weapon. You can also use two. You can have like the strand machine gun on the bottom slot, or if you don't want to use scatter signal, do the strand machine gun on the bottom slot.
There we go.
Yeah, Pro Memoria.
Yep.
Then on the middle slot, it's pretty flexible. You could do Lodestar. That's a good weapon. You could do whatever, you know.
Takes
just
primary ammo. Primary ammo on the Lodestar. It's not, you don't have to worry about splitting ammo between these two weapons. So yeah, scatter signal. And what did they need to put on the scatter signal again? Slice and
controlled burst.
Gotcha. Can you move it in? See, this is all set up for I've got this all set up for Crucible, but yeah, this is what's beautiful about, this is what's beautiful about crafted weapons. I can go right back to the throne world and go back and reshape this. It'll cost us some, it'll cost some materials and a little bit of glimmer, and I'll just pick these enhanced ones. I'll just go to my enhanced ones that he's mentioned, enhanced slice.
It would actually be better to have two scatter signals, one for PvP and one for PvE. That's way better than always recrafting.
Another great thing about weapon crafting, I'm going to keep beating this damn drum, is I can make two of these. Yes, it's expensive, but hey, if you want something really nice weapon-wise, you got to pay for it. You got to put the time in to get the materials to do it. So you can see I'm level 30 on this. I've used this quite a bit in Crucible, but yeah, it's rapid fire frame, which are my favorite fusion rifles. So, okay, good. And
scatter signal's been good for PvE, so that's the
this is craftable as well. I just crafted this one. I'm at level 28 on it, so I can put whatever I want on this. What would you suggest I put on the Pro Memoria here? The same thing.
I'll have to look at my dim. I think I did craft a good build of that, but let me see what I have for PvE, and if anyone in the chat knows that off the top of your head. But I believe I did craft that with a good PvE build.
You know what? We're just going to do it right now.
You can look on also.
Just gonna
right.gg or
something. We're gonna put it together right now. Look at your notes, and I'm headed to the weapon crafting room right now.
Target lock and reconstruction.
Target lock. Ooh. See, I haven't done anything this yet. I've just been getting kills with it just to unlock, because you want to get most of your crafted weapons to get all the perks on it. You need to level your weapon up.
Also good. Yep.
I love reconstruction on anything, but you have to get most of your weapon levels up when you craft your first. For those of you who don't know anything about crafting, you have to craft your first frame, and then you have to upgrade it by getting kills on it, and now you can actually pay to play. You can actually play to craft your weapon. So let me just, I need to take it off real quick here and unlock it. Okay, let's go in here. We're going to build it real quick.
You're going to build both of them, the fusion and the
why not? Let's just get them set up, and then that way I'll save it. I'm going to reshape. Let's do the heavy weapon first. There we go. All right. What frame do you recommend? Handling. We got range, probably range, right? Reload speed, maybe.
I gotta load my over to see. I think I did range on mine. I don't know that it matters as much, but
range
let me load mine over from dim onto my screen so I can see a little bit more.
If we're doing this for PvE range, it might be reload speed. What you might want on a big machine gun like this.
There are things to help with reload speed too, though. That's true. Sometimes are better than the masterwork.
Okay. We'll stick with range. Okay.
First, that's less important.
Yeah, I always use arrowhead break on just about everything.
I don't know. I can't say I have the latest god roll for PvE, but I know I had a good one when I made it. But I made chambered compensator for the barrel.
Well, I like arrowhead break. Okay, chambered compensator. Let me look.
Well, but do you like it for PvP or PvE?
PvE. But I have 89 recoil direction, which is still very good. But arrowhead break, I'm getting 100 straight up and down for accuracy. Thinking like DPS.
I don't know. This was recommended to me, so it probably doesn't matter entirely for the barrel. Magazine appended mag, increases magazine size.
Yep, that's good. 91 in the mag. Holy crap! With a 600, I'm gonna be shooting forever. Okay, and then you said, what did you say for the third perk?
I like Reconstruction for the third perk,
Yes. I'm getting excited now. I can't wait to go use this. And then final. What's the final?
and I like Target Lock. Now, Frenzy could also be good, but Target Lock damage increases by an improved amount the longer the weapon remains on target.
Let's do it. Okay.
So it's not like a total DPS killer, but it doesn't hurt. You know,
Yeah.
it gives you a little more DPS that way.
And you guys can see what it
Again,
costs.
this is not going to be meta compared to things like Queen
Right.
Breaker or other weapons, but
Yeah.
if you're in like general content, this could be useful.
Well, there's the cost of everything to reshape a weapon, so you know. And there it is. I got it. Now let's get the scatter signal
So
built
consider
too.
Frenzy also, but
Mhm.
Target Lock's what I have in mind.
Frenzy is good for, and this, by the way, is the Valkyrie Zero shader. Look how good that looks. This is the Valkyrie Zero shader. I use it on a lot of my guns. It just has that nice bright orange glow with the contrast of white and the dark and black areas. It just looks so good on a lot of weapons really shine with this shader. And I think you get it from Nightfalls. I get drops in Nightfalls, or you can get it from, if it's available in the tower at the time. So there, I am all set on that one.
But remember, people, you don't have to use these weapons. You just should
Yeah.
have one strand weapon at least.
This is optimal.
The scatter signal is what I'd probably recommend even more necessarily than the machine gun.
Well,
but,
we're going to build that too right now.
Yep.
Okay. All right, we're going to reshape it. Range, definitely. On a fusion rifle, you always want range. I'm going to go, because we're going to be pretty close range with most of these, right?
I have fluted barrel and enhanced battery for mine. I don't know
Fluted
if,
barrel.
you know,
Fluted
maybe
barrel.
those were just
That's
recommended
still
to me for
pretty
PvE
good.
or...
I'm just a sucker for arrowhead. This is the great thing about shaping weapons. You can do whatever you want, man.
You think of all the PvP stuff on the
I'm
PvE.
I'm PvP minded. It's all about accuracy of the weapon.
But
And
then you don't do as good in PvE.
what did you use for your charging mod? Enhanced
Charging
battery?
mod. You mean the barrel or the battery?
The battery mod.
Enhanced battery.
Gotcha.
Increases magazine size. That's obviously a good thing for PvE.
And then you said slice. Yes. Okay.
Definitely slice. Definitely slice.
And control burst, right?
Yep.
There it is. All right. There it is. Now I am all set to kill stuff and not die ever. There we go. Hey guys.
So the play is having to know when you have your powered melee, sliding into a group of enemies using your melee. That's probably going to be the hardest thing to learn. But if you can learn that and try it, it may not be a play style that you're going to enjoy, but if you do like it, then it can be a lot of fun.
Heck yeah. This looks like, I can't wait to try this. It's going to be fun. All right. And then, you can use whatever here, but Lodestar sounds good to me.
Yeah, definitely can use whatever.
I'm not using my destabilizing round build here, so I won't be using my age-old bond. But
yeah, this is for weapons. It's heavier on strand because of how it synergizes. You don't need to worry about the void weapons because your Devour will proc when you slide in and do that ability.
Gotcha. Nice. All right. Okay.
All right. That's basically it.
That looks a lot of fun.
This is a newer build. I haven't had much time to play with it, but
right.
I wanted to show you this one because I figured you'd like prismatic better.
I like it, man. I definitely like it. Yeah, awesome.
Remember, you can change the super to whatever you want. You don't have to do Song of Flame. You can do Nova Bomb, whatever, and then you can change the class item however you want also.
Gotcha. I'm going to stop streaming.
So it's somewhat flexible.
Gotcha. All right, good deal. Well, there you go. There's a full, you don't even have to go to YouTube, or you could, I guess, but.
And by the way,
there you go.
The name that Plunder the Booty calls this is Surge Bolt God.
I am going to go to Dim right now, and I'm going to go to loadouts. And I'm going to pull this up on this.
You can put the Mobilytics link in the show notes if you want to.
I'm going to save this link, and I'm going to put this link in our show notes. So you guys, I'll put the Dim link in here, but it looks like everything's transferred perfectly. So let me go to screen share here. If you guys aren't using Dim yet, man, come on. This is such a great thing to have in the game. I mean, you can see it's the ultimate tool when it comes to Destiny. But you go to loadouts right here, and since we just put all this together, you're going to go to equipped right here. You're going to save the loadout, and if you notice, it saves all of your artifact mods as well that we just connected to. Everything that we just added that Kingsley told me to add to my build is all right there laid out. even the aspects and fragments, all right there. And sorry, Discord, can't see what's going on, but yeah. And then I'm going to name it. I want to name it other than equipped. See, can I, okay. We'll just save it. There it is, saved. And right here, see, it says equipped 213, 11:05 p.m. Now all I have to do is go over here and edit this, and then I can come in here and rename it. What did Plunder the Booty call it?
Surge Bolt God.
Surge Bolt God. And just go down here and save it. Boom. Now I've got it for later. Surge Bolt God. All right. And I'm going to now talk about my build that I've used ever since Final Shape. And all I have to do is just hit this button right here. And it is going to apply it. While that's loading up. And I believe it changes your artifact mods as well. Serves me correct, I believe.
I didn't think anything could change artifact mods. I thought the APIs
Maybe not.
don't allow that.
It may not do it, but I'm not going to get so much in the
even Bungie's in-game thing, unfortunately, doesn't change the artifact mods. That's something we all wish would happen, but
yeah, it's working on transferring it right now. So we're going to do that real quick. I call this my Swiss Army knife build because this build that I'm going to show you right now is a build that I use in PvE and PvP, and I do well in both of those areas using this one build. And granted, I'm not going to be like, you know, unkillable and stuff like this build that Kingsley just gave us. But if you have a Warlock, and I know there's not a bunch of Warlocks out there, not everyone is perfect, and you have you know, a Titan or a Hunter. I've got Titans and Hunters too, don't get me wrong. But yeah, it's applying all the mods right now. Bungie's working a little slow right now, but yeah, it's doing that right now. It's adding all that. Yeah, I'm just looking at it here. Looks like it's added. It's not quite there yet. Still applying the mods. There it is. It's just really slow tonight. You know, with all the maintenance they did today, earlier, I'm sure everything's kind of limping along. But there it is. Loadout succeeded. Okay. I'm going to go back to my game. Boop-a-doop. Okay. Now, if you play a Warlock, you have lots of options. But what Kingsley just mentioned works very well in PvE. And like I said, it looks like it's a god roll where you can just go in and just never die. But for me, I like a little more versatility. So I am going to share my screen. I will do it here in the Discord as well. There we go. Should be popping up right now. There we go. And I very much like to use this because I can just easily swap it out between whatever I'm doing. And as far as weapons go, I'm not even going to really get into weapons here because everyone has kind of their favorites that they like to use. So I'm not really going to talk so much weapons here, but I'm going to give you some examples though. Let's just say that I'm going to use my new Redrix S-Stock, and I'm going to use my Telesto, and then just whatever. Let's use my commemoration here. So we got a void, and gee whiz, Todd. It's right there on the damn thing. Stasis. It's a stasis pulse rifle. Just came out. This is the new pulse rifle that just came out in the new competition, competitive in Crucible. I can't talk tonight. Now, let's go first to the actual build. I like using Phoenix Dive. I use this in PvE and PvP, and I've gotten kills with the Phoenix Dive mortars that it throws out. I do use Blink. Let's just say this is for PvP. I use Blink. If I'm in PvE, I'll switch to Strafe Glide because, like I said, I like a lot of airtime. I do like the Penumbral Blast because if you have a shotgunner running at you in PvP, you can freeze them and then smack them and then kill them. I use the Storm Grenade because you'll see in a minute why I need the Arc Grenade. I do use Hellion which gives me this effect. When I use my Phoenix Dive, I can use that mortar that falls down and is seekable. It seeks things out. And then Bleak Watcher, which throws out a turret when I eat my grenade. Now what I use as far as my fragments, mainly I've built this on stat building for Crucible. So anything that gives me resilience, like Facet of Awakening gives me +10. I'm getting minus 10 recovery on this, but if I pick up an Orb of Light in Crucible, I get an instant overshield, which is very strong. This gives me 10 mobility, which is for your strafe speed in Crucible. And then strength, you can always have that for that powered melee. And then finally, melee final blows, you get health regeneration. You can use that in PvP or actually PvE. So that's the basic build there. I like using Nova Bomb. I like to jump in the air, like blink in the air in Crucible and throw a Nova Bomb down from above, because most people don't look up when they're playing Crucible. But obviously in PvE, the Cataclysm Nova Bomb is devastating for ads and for bosses as well. Problem I hate with the Cataclysm is sometimes it'll seek out an ad not going to the boss where I want it to go, and it's very annoying. So you got to really fly up above the boss and throw it down if you want to make sure you get your correct DPS for that. All right. Since I have my Redrix S stock, I want to make sure if I'm playing Crucible, I switch to my targeting mods. So we know it's stasis, so obviously we want to go to a stasis targeting mod. And I'm using a Telesto, which I don't really need targeting on this. So what I'm probably going to do is double up on my stasis targeting mods here. That's going to give me even more aim assist on that weapon. And then I usually have an extra slot here. There's really nothing I can really use here for PvP. But if I now, let's just say I was going to go into a PvE environment, then I would switch this over to Stasis Siphon, because I want to create Orbs of Light, right? So I'd switch this over to, there we go, Stasis Siphon. You want to create those Orbs of Light. And if I have extra, like I have an extra slot here, I'll probably go Harmonic Siphon, because my super is a Void. Nova Bomb, if I use any Void weapons here, which I already showed you I'm using 2, I'll actually create Orbs of Power as well. Now, like Kingsley said, 100, if you're playing in any PvE activity, definitely try to get this resilience to 100, because that makes you maximum as far as hit points. I use this for Crucible, so I use a 777 build. In this instance, I'm using an 877 build. I want plenty of recovery, because once someone shoots you and you go hide to regenerate your shields, you want that as fast as possible. And 7 seems to be the kind of the sweet spot as far as how much you're investing in the slots in your mod to get to level 7 or 70 on your recovery. And then level 7 or tier 7 on your resilience is kind of the sweet spot in Crucible as well, because most hand cannons can have to 3-tap you on a 7. And if you have anything less than 7, usually they can 2-tap you if they have the right perks on their weapon. And I'm a big strafe guy. I like to be able to strafe side by side when I'm in a gunfight. So in Crucible, I want high mobility. And I know that a lot of people are going to argue with me on this point, but high mobility is important to me in Crucible, because I want to be able to move side to side when I'm strafing, when I'm shooting people, to be able to not get hit. It's just a PvP thing for me. But if I'm going into more PvE content, I would take all this extra mobility I'm using and transfer it into maximum resilience. So just keep in mind, that's what I'm thinking there. I do like using Getaway Artist, because when I eat my grenade, because of this build, it's throwing out a turret. But because I'm eating my grenade and it's a arc grenade, I'm getting a little arc buddy that helps shoot, which is excellent in PvP, because it's like having a buddy right next to you. And granted, it's not a ton of damage that you're going to do to the enemy as they're running at you, but it's really nice to have. It's really nice to have those extra few shots. And I've had my arc buddy finish off someone I'm trying to shoot at in a gunfight in PvP in the Crucible, and it really does save your life sometimes. And of course, it works beautifully against ads in PvE activity. So yeah, as far as mods here, if I'm playing Crucible, I want to go with reloader mods. If I'm going to play actually for Crucible or PVE. Reloader mod, you can't really go wrong. So I'll probably use a reloader mod on one of my weapons that I'm going to use the most of. Focusing strike, I get class ability anytime I damage with a powered melee attack. And if you remember, I'm using my Penumbral Blast, which means all I have to do is damage a boss or damage anything in PvE or PvP, and I'm getting more class ability energy. Because guess what that gives me? That gives me more class ability energy to use my Phoenix Dive, which throws out my mortars. So you see, it's a constant loop where you can recycle these mortars that drop, these your grenades, which you can use for your turrets and your arc buddies, all with this one exotic. It's really good. It works very well with this prismatic build. Now, if you're in PvP, you're going to want to go with unflinching mods. So I'm using my Redrix, which is stasis. So you want to go to a stasis unflinching mod. And I probably, since I'm using a fusion rifle, a Telesto, I'm probably again going to go with a double unflinching. That just gives me a little bit more unflinching if someone's trying to shoot me. So this build is kind of made for my 1v1 gunfights with this pulse rifle. I'm building everything kind of toward this pulse rifle. I really want it to shine the best. And if you notice, I enhance this, which means I unlock the new mods that they have for these. And I have an anti-flinch mod. I think gives you plus 15 anti-flinch. So yeah, it even adds more. As far as leg armor, actually leg armor and class item mods do not change. I use both the same mods for PvE and PvP. So that are your healing mods, Better Already, recuperation. Better Already is where it starts to, it basically sets the reset point for when your abilities start to recharge fully. And if you're in a pickle, recuperation will give you a chunk of health, like instantly, like you're running from someone and they're shooting you and you run over an orb. And then absolution, like Kingsley mentioned earlier, it reduces all your ability cooldowns when you pick up an orb of power. This whole build is built around picking up those orbs of power, and whether it's in PvP or PvE. And the same with what Kingsley was saying, distribution. And I use a double bomber mod because I want to make sure I can regenerate those grenades, right? Now, as far as your armor mods, this is up to you. I like I said, I told you I like my 877 build here. You can go 7, 8, 7. You can move it around however way you want with your armor mods. But in a nutshell, that's what I'm aiming for here. So this build I've been using ever since Final Shape. And whether I'm in the Pale Heart, just going around and shooting stuff, or whether I'm in PvP and playing an Iron Banner and soon in Trials, you can still use these turrets and these extra little benefits with this prismatic build, and it will frustrate the hell out of people, especially shotgunners that like to run up to you. So if you haven't found out, I don't like shotgunners. I hate it when they slide and kill me, because it seems like when you aim, certain weapons have slide shot on them. It's like they can slide forever and still kill you all in one move. And really good players know how to really use that perk. So I'm all about keeping distance. If I have a shotgunner running at me, I can hit him with my Penumbral Blast and freeze him. It gives me time to get away or kill him. Or I'll just lay some Telesto bolts on the ground and let him run across those. Or I'll hit him right in the chest with them. And let me tell you, Telesto has really been improved this season. And of course, the new catalyst, I don't know if you've heard, but after activating Harbinger's Pulse, which is like a charging ability when you get hits with stuff, you can see how many kills I got in this thing. It will rain a projection of the next direct hit with this weapon. It'll rain down these purple globules from like an upper area. I tried this on in the Nether, and it was really impressive how that worked. And of course, you get more armor. You get more ammo reserves. I can hold 7 of these bolts in one clip. So still a big fan of Telesto. Still love this gun. So, and of course, reconstruction, baby. Reconstruction. This is a perfect weapon to use in PvE or PvP. You're not going to get enough to worry about reconstruction in PvP because they only give you like 20 ammo. But I do have a rampage perk on this, but you can use anything for your heavy. I'm not a big heavy user in Crucible. Only, you know, if I'm on an Iron Banner, I'll put an Iron Banner sword on, or an Iron Banner machine gun. But basically, this build I have been using ever since Final Shape, since June, and I really have not varied it much. So for those of you who play Warlocks out there that are just getting into Warlocks and you want a very simple build that you don't have to change around a lot of things. And granted, I know the loadout UI in the game is really, really nice. I don't really use it. I use Dim. And if I'm using one build for everything, then I really don't even need to worry about any of this stuff. But as you'll hear from Dimwie later in the podcast tonight, he uses this a ton. And you'll see why when we talk to him. So there we go. Kingsley has
I would recommend making 2 builds of that, because you actually named a lot of things you had to change between PvP and PvE.
Well,
it would probably save you time if you made one for each.
You can do it. You can do that. I'm just old school. And if I know I'm going to run Iron Banner for the night, or I'm going to play comp for the night, then I'll switch all these to targeting. If I'm going to play Nether with Kingsley, then I'm going to just switch these to Siphon mods, depending on what weapon I'm using. It's that simple.
And your resilience. Don't forget that. Bring your resilience to 100.
Yeah, you'll bring your resilience. And all I'm doing there is I'm just changing out my mobility mods for like I said.
And raiding, you should really have weapon surge mods too for the legs.
That's true. That's true. I like I said, I'm not really worried about max DPS and all that stuff, but yeah, you're right, man. You're right. Surge mods come in.
Should be to help us out.
I know. Surge mods, use your surge mods. Yes. Get your armor charges. You can build something easily this way, but
I'm not poo-pooing on the build, but it definitely sounds more like a PvP build than a PvE build.
It's definitely leaning toward PvP, as I like playing PvP. I play a lot of Crucible in this game. So, Song of Flame, if I'm in PvE, I'll consider that, Fluffy. But if I'm in Crucible, sorry, sir, I need my blink, and I need my Nova Bomb, where I can jump above people and throw it right on their heads. That's what I'm always going to use in Crucible. I've just used blink so much in Crucible that I've gotten really good at it, and I feel comfortable using it. And I'm not always get myself out of sticky situations, but yeah, I could use Song of Flame if I'm going into more of a PvE, like high level content where I want to stay alive and keep my team alive. Absolutely. So, all right, there you go. Cool. We don't normally do this kind of stuff on our podcast. We usually talk about, different things in the game. And I just wanted to give you guys more of a visual aspect of stuff tonight. So, one more thing I want to mention, Kingsley.
Yeah.
And, I came across this article today, and, whoops, sorry. Let me stop that so I can get you back in frame. And, this is something I ran across playing comp last week. There is a sleeper weapon in the Crucible that you guys need to know about. In fact, I'm going to pull it up on my game.
I can tune out.
No. I'm telling you, no. For PV, no. This is something you can get. This is actually a weapon you can get in Crucible and use and just destroy things in PVE. And I'm going to put it on.
Oh, you said for Crucible, so you
sorry,
I'm PVE.
Sorry, I'm going to put it on right now, in fact. So I'll let you guys know what it is. And I'm going to switch that over to, and we'll go with that. Okay. There is your seasonal weapon that's at the vendors right now. And it is called, in fact, let me just go to full screen again. The Joxer's Longsword. This gun is outstanding. Here, I'll share my screen. No, let me do it. Sorry, guys. In the Discord, I can't show you the screen. But there's a Joxer's Longsword. And they say the God roll, if you get this God roll, you get this to drop, and you can focus your Crucible Ingrams, your you can get this in, I think you can get this in Gambit and also in Vanguard Strikes. It's the seasonal weapon. It's the seasonal weapon from the vendors. I got it through Crucible. I'm pretty sure it's, don't hold me to that, but this weapon is outstanding. But if you get this roll right here of the Joxer's Longsword, you basically have a Graviton Lance in a legendary form. Because if you look at this right here, you got Arrowhead Break, Ricochet rounds, Dragonfly, and Destabilizing rounds. They have changed the stabilizing rounds. They're much more potent this season than in prior seasons. And a stability or reload, masterwork, whatever you decide to do there. If you get this roll right here, you are going to be very, very happy. And you won't have to put on your grav lance and use that exotic slot. You can actually use this rifle and destroy stuff in PVE. And I don't have this role yet. The role I do have is, let's pull it up right here. The role I do have is repulsor brace destabilizing rounds. This is my very first drop in Crucible, and this is the role I got. This thing is a monster. I mean, and I'm gonna enhance them as well. I definitely can enhance these, but repulsor brace and destabilizing rounds. First, because it is a void weapon, I'm gonna debuff everything, and it creates an overshield, and then I'm gonna tear them apart with the stabilizing rounds because my gun is gonna become volatile. I'm actually be able to shoot volatile rounds. Remember that from Witch Queen? You had this one artifact perk where you can turn your void weapons and instantly get volatile rounds, which just destroyed stuff. Now you have it in the Crucible weapon right here. This gun right here, do not sleep on this gun. You'll be able to get a Graviton Lance in a legendary form if you get the Firefly perk here instead of a repulsor brace. You're going to be very, very happy with this weapon. And it is the new heavy burst, which if you're into the DPS numbers for primaries, the heavy burst pulse rifles are doing very good DPS numbers right now this season. They really have buffed these as far as DPS numbers. So just want to let you guys know about that. I saw that article today and I said, I got to mention this tonight. So there you go. The Joxer's Longsword. I got it through the Crucible. I don't know if it's a Crucible only weapon or if you can get it from, if it's the seasonal vendor weapon, for the 3 main activities, Vanguard Strikes, Crucible, and of course, Gambit. But I just want to make you guys aware of this. This is a sleeper weapon right now, and I'm going to use it in trials this weekend too, and I'll let you know how it works as well. But this is a PvE role. I don't have anything for PvP yet, but I can't wait to start farming this weapon. And it only cost 1 Crucible Ingram to focus it. Doesn't cost any money, just a Crucible Ingram. It's all it takes. And you know how those fall from heaven if you're playing Crucible. So yeah, definitely check that one out. That's the informational part of our podcast tonight. I just want to make sure that you guys knew about this because, man, there are some really fun weapons this season. And I just am having so much fun with all these new weapons and stuff. So anything else you wanted to mention, Kingsley, that I forgot? Trying to go over my notes here and make sure I'm not forgetting anything.
I'm good.
Okay. Before we go tonight, we have something special for you guys. But before we do that, we have a few questions from our Discord, and then we're going to answer those real quick when we come back, and then we'll end our show on our special segment. Be right back. Okay. Let me pull up the Discord questions real quick here. We had just a few quick ones I want to answer here. People spend the time to put them in the Discord. I want to make sure we answer them every week. All right. Okay. Podcast questions.
I'll get that loaded up here too.
Yep. We got a few of them here. Fluffy had a question in the, okay. I'm gonna wait till I'm recording to ask that question, Fluffy Potato. You sure you aren't Fluffy from Potato Thumbs Podcast? It's so ironic that you named yourself Fluffy Potato because Fluffy Fingers MD. Okay.
But,
you sure it's not an alt account?
Totally different name.
Okay. All right. We get me out, man. All right. 3, 2. All right, boys and girls, it's that time of our show where we get our questions from you guys. And we had a question in our YouTube chat. I wanted to ask first. This is from Mr. Fluffy Potato. He goes, one question for the podcast. If I see Gator in the Discord, am I free to join? I feel like I need permission to join. Actually, we had some new members last night when Kingsley and Sen and I were in the Nether and jumped in and just said hi. And I don't see him in here now, but really nice guys, said they love the podcast and just were saying, wanted to introduce themselves and say hi. And I don't mind stuff like that. Now, it did get later into we were getting into the Nether and we needed to communicate some more. So we kind of split up after that from the guys that joined. But Gators Hangout is just that. If I'm in the Gators Hangout, you guys are free to join anytime and drop in and say hey.
Yeah, I would agree. Like,
Yep.
I think Discord etiquette is if groups know they have like a dungeon
Yeah.
or exotic mission or raid and they
Yep.
need to keep communication tight, you do a limited channel in the first place.
Yep.
Or the other option is if you're in a channel that has open slots and it's not listed as a raid or a dungeon channel, anyone's invited to join. Now,
Yep.
we did have the goal of doing stuff that needed more communication later. And so it's totally okay to join, but then it's also totally okay for someone to mention later, like, oh, hey, we're going to go to another channel now because we got to focus on something. And that's not weird either. So definitely join and say hi to us. And if we're in a channel that has the slots.
Exactly. Okay. We got a question here from Mr. Jimmy Rayner. Should Bungie remove resilience and swap it for strength? Resilience being in the game forces everyone to spec into it first because it's a free stat. Removing it and lowering overall damage by 20% could give you the opportunity to actually build into stuff instead of forcing to max one thing every time for PvE. Same with extended mag as a mod. You should only have options to give you a choice, but having the possibility to change weapons with a mod beyond stats is just broken. What do you think, Kingsley? What do you think of that statement?
Well, I get where he's getting at this, but I don't think it's so cut and dry. I guarantee if resilience was removed, there would become another perk that rises to the top. This always happens. Like if extended mag was removed too, yes, it's the most popular one, but if they remove it, then some other one will become the next most popular one. And then you could use the same argument on the next thing.
Right.
That being said, to have a little more nuance, I mean, yeah, if you wanted to simplify things, remove resilience as a stat altogether, and then, add that strength one we said or something. I mean, it could be fun to change it up, but I don't think it's going to solve his ultimate complaint of everyone just going into one stat as the most important stat, because there's always going to be a most important one that everyone says, do this one first, even if it's not resilience.
Yeah. And keep in mind, we're not thinking here, maybe not remembering, is Bungie's going to be changing the way armor is put together in Frontiers. So that may answer, that may fix this. Exactly. So, okay. Thanks for the question there, Jimmy Rayner. And Fluffy did also chime in on this and said another problem is that resilience is tied to class ability regeneration for Titan, and each class has a stat tied to it. So it would be difficult to remove it from the game unless they overhauled the 3 stats. Yeah.
Yep.
Good point too. Exactly. Okay. Barrel Barley, which I forgot to mention this. We actually put him through his very first Vault of Glass, his very first raid ever in Destiny.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Also the raid you played because of losing the bet, but with me. But yeah, it was nice to meet up with Barrel Barley and do a raid.
We had Allocate in there. Ronin Red Line was in there. Please help me out if I forget someone. You remember who else was in there? You, of course, and then we're forgetting one person.
Me, you.
Barrel Barley was in there, and then it was Steel Zealot.
Yeah, Steel Zealot.
Yeah, really good team, bunch of killers. And the thing I love is Ronin Red Lion and Allocate. They made my job so easy. I was streaming it live, and it's in my YouTube channel if you want to watch the raid back. But we were helping a total raid virgin get through their very first raid. He never had the opportunity to do it, and I'm like, man, you're missing out, because that's raiding is so much different than all the other parts of Destiny. It really truly is special in this game. So once I saw that he had never done a raid in the Discord, then I scrambled to try to put one together. And he used our new sesh bot, our new owl activity bot, and he saw how easy it was to put a game together, and then we all joined. Yeah, he did not give X. I asked him if he saw any little golden engrams up there at the chest, and he did not. So my streak's dead. I remember we took Uncle Scumdeath to his very first VOG, and he fell asleep. He was so drunk, he passed out, fell asleep. I don't know how he was still alive. I guess because we were all just killing stuff. And then comes up and goes, oh, that's it? Okay. What's this gold thing here? And son of a bitch, on his very first Vault of Glass, got the Vex Mythic class. It took me 31 tries. I'm not bitter though. I'm not bitter at all. So,
I bet they weren't all looted tries. Some of them were probably redos, but
It could be.
but still, I know
No,
it took
there
you
were
a while.
some were partial, some were farms, but still didn't get it. Barrel Barley, by the way, his question: if Bungie would add a hotkey somehow for tonics and boost their effects, do you think people would use them more? I know how my answer is going to be here, Kingsley, but what about you, man? What's your comment on this?
Hotkey? I mean, they're not that hard to get into. Well, I mean, I guess it takes a little bit of time. I don't think a hotkey is going to get people to use them more, but it is. Even though we you know throw a lot of shade on tonics, and most people agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
If you have tonics, you should still remember to use them from time to time because they are free little, even though they buffed them so they last a lot longer than they did before. Like you'd be surprised how long they last now. But I think we should still try to remember to use them from time to time because it's just extra little help. I don't think the hotkey is the problem though. It's just
it's the interface.
People remembering and then caring, and they were just weird. Less to
use a tonic, you got to go in your inventory, and then at the top of your it's in your quest
inventory.
It's inventory, and you have these two little boxes up there. If you don't know what you're looking for, you don't even know what those are. And then you go in there, and then you have two different tonic drop downs, one for weapons and focusing. And one is for more glimmer and strength and whatever else you're trying to build for. And it's just so I've mentioned it before, it's so discombobulating to try to figure all that stuff out. And the fact that they add a timer to it, even the exotic tonics, I think give you an hour of time. It's not a whole lot of time. You know how fast time flies when we play this. So I'm not a fan of the tonics. It looked exciting when I saw the trailer, but no. My question is very simply no. Tajo Trade. I haven't heard from him in a while. The Nether
is buffed it a lot. I mean, I agree with your point in general, but legendaries and exotics are almost 2 hours now.
Okay. It's just the fact I have ADHD. If it's out of sight, it's out of mind for me. That's why everything has to be in front of me, or I'll just forget. And I just never remember to put one on half the time. I've run tons of dungeons and stuff, and that's
the bigger issue for everyone.
I can't see
it's forgetting and caring. And sure, the timer thing's a little bit annoying too, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't use them for that reason. But the bigger reason is people forgetting.
That's what I do. I just forget to apply it, forget to activate it. I've got a ton of them. I've got a ton of tonics. I just never used them. Tajo Trade had a question. I hadn't heard from him in a while. It's pretty cool. The Nether is probably one of the best seasonal activities we've had in a good while. What would you do to improve it further? Challenge and explorative wise.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. And there's been a couple people that haven't tried the Nether a lot or don't like it. And I feel like, and it's okay. Like, it's not like we're going to say your opinion will change, but I feel like most people think it's pretty cool that at least has done it for a while. As far as changing it, exploration and secret and all that wise, I don't think they need to do much more because there's tons of stuff in there. And you would have to play it for many, many hours and days to feel bored in that aspect. And they're adding more all the time because of more zones are going to open up. And after you do the exotic mission, there's more collectibles when you go back in the Nether. The other way that could help people is the big gripe that I had last week. They did not market it well. This is going to be changed actually. Actually, today it changed where they the solo exploration mode, which again, people, you never really ever have to do if you're playing solo. In fact, it's easier if you do the regular version. However, as of today, I believe they did tune it so that the solo one will now be easier if you're going in as a solo player.
Gotcha.
So the marketing was horrible on that, but that's really the only thing I could think of them needing to change, and they did change that. And to make it better, I mean, add more zones. What they're probably going to do, the rewards, they don't need to change anything there. The weapons drop like candy everywhere, and that's without even doing a Tome of Want. If you do a Tome of Want for focusing, it's even crazier how much things will drop. All the chests, and then you get all the metastasized essentia, and you go back to the heiress apartment, and you even notice this, Todd, where like you go to the thing on the side and deposit that, and you get even more weapons and more materials and stuff.
The miasma essentia or something. If you got 10 of them,
I
it gives
feel
you a
like
ton of stuff.
the amount of weapon drops and tuning
Very
and the
impressed.
amount of rewards and secrets and everything in this activity is about as perfect as you can get.
Yeah.
The only thing that was maybe minor missteps was the tuning on the difficulty in the solo version and minor things like that. So
Yeah.
I'm curious what other people would think you could do to make it better.
I can't really think of anything. For me, it'd probably be more materials throughout the hunt with your ghost to get more. I feel the essentia is very sparse throughout the worlds. Every area has like two, maybe two or three of them.
Doesn't it?
Beg your pardon?
It's not just one when you go up to it. It gives you a bunch when you pick it up.
Oh yeah, it does give you multiple.
It goes fast. Trust me. Like I have like hundreds or whatever, and you go to and you go back to the apartment, and then they turn in for even more.
I turned in 20 of them, and I'm already out, so I got to go back and do it. But I haven't played as much as you have. Yeah, I mean you're level 10 already, so yeah. Oh, MJT2 says healing changes today for Nether made a pretty big difference on difficulty. I'm glad to hear that. I was wondering when they were going to address the healing issues because, I mean, Sin was in there.
That was also today.
Sin was in there playing with us, and he goes, "Dude, I'm getting one shot. I don't know how I'm dying so quickly here." And he's a very aggressive player. I get that, but he's usually pretty tanky.
They're not changing that. They're changing healing abilities, not how much damage you take.
Right, right. But what I'm saying is, because anything you use, whether it's stepping on a well or orbs of light or whatever, it literally, I swear, it barely would move. It barely registered. If I'm using my Crimson in there,
the bar has a lot more to it.
I understand that.
It was the same amount of healing as before, but we didn't notice it because the bar had more in it.
But it would at least have, if the bar was 300 instead of 100, I understand it's 3 times longer. I get that. But if I'm getting usually like let's just say, I don't know, let's just say half a bar for every kill I get in regular mode, it shouldn't be like that. If it's a 3-to-1 ratio of health, it should be like maybe an eighth or even a quarter of a bar.
It's actually a 10-to-1 ratio.
10-to-1?
I believe. It went from 30 to 300.
Your health's only 30?
No. I mean, well, what is your health normally?
It's supposed to be 100. It's it's more than that. It's like one. Well, in Crucible, it's like 157 or something. But yeah, you get my point.
Okay.
Just to say it's 100, and even 100. If it's 300, then it should be 3-to-1 ratio, which means you should be getting a third less health than you normally do. If I'm using my Red Death or whatever, I should be getting a lot more health than just this tiny little millimeter of health. It's just not. It's not worth it. That's another issue I have. JD Kent said the limits on resources: 300 sigil charge and 50 essence of desire. Hey man, they want you to come back and play. That's why they give you limits.
I don't think that's ever going to change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it hasn't yet. And if you've talked about it for years, why do you think it'll change in the future?
I believe me. I've been fighting that, JD, for a long time, man. I don't like putting limits on stuff. I complained that they only did 99 strange coins, and you'd be in the middle of the week, you couldn't play anymore. You wouldn't want to play anymore because you couldn't get any more strange coins. They wouldn't throw, if you have 99 strange coins, they're not going to give them to you in your vault after each game you play, whether it's Crucible or whatever. You just don't get any more. That's just bull. It's just bull. One more question here. Taja Trade had another one for us. What would be your ideal, quote, me day? You get to do whatever you want all day with no responsibilities or worries. And he does stipulate you must still follow all laws. What would be your ideal me day, Mike?
Me day?
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the other part he put? Because you already deleted the question.
No, you can, what's your ideal me day? You can do anything you want. You have the whole day to yourself, no responsibilities, no worries, but you do have to follow the law. Can't break the law.
Well, gosh, I'm pretty lucky and spoiled. I love my job.
I was going to say that too.
I feel like I have a me day almost every single day of my life, but it used to be an ideal me day, and this is less these days, so I don't have a great answer, but I remember even just a few years ago too, especially during the summer, an ideal me day was going out on a long couple-day drive on my own. Especially in Utah, there's so many places to explore, back roads, canyons, mountains, and things like that. And what I would do is I'd find some new route, with maybe a couple hikes out in there too, but mostly just drives around and stuff, and go out exploring, and then spend like, so go to some new cool town, find some cool places to eat, get some food, get a hotel for a night or two. And so it's like I'm pampering from the hotel, I'm getting some cool places to eat some cool food, and I'm exploring in some mountains or national parks or things like that, and just eye candy all around, just looking around. So that was really fun in the past. Those were like me days for me.
That sounds like a good day to me. I do
It
have
was just
to,
me.
yeah.
It started, I started doing those like after my first marriage. This was like over 10 years
Yeah.
ago now. And when I was single, and it was a good thing to do, but also even just in the current marriage, you know, we do a lot of stuff together, but we do a lot of things apart too. And people don't need to feel obligated to go on trips with your spouse there. It's good to go on some trips by yourself sometimes too.
Yeah. I'm gonna say the same thing you did, Kingsley. I'm self-employed, and what's great about that is I create my schedule on the fly every day, depending on what needs to get done. So I kind of feel like I have a lot of flexibility in how I set up my days. I can even start later in the day if I want to, depending on what needs to get done, or I can work later, or I can start earlier and get home earlier. I can vary my schedule a lot. That being said, though, I do still have worries and responsibilities, so that would not be a perfect me day. You know, when I was in college, a perfect me day was, I was at a local community college here before I went to Florida, and it's Valencia Community College, which is like the best community college in the United States. It's one of the best. Very good education there. I would go to my classes in the morning. I'd be out by 10, and I would haul ass about 2 miles down the road into this old little rinky-dink plaza, and they had an arcade there that had everything. I mean, all the games. It was like the biggest arcade I've ever seen. And this was back when arcades were kind of fading. They weren't as quite as popular as they used to be. And I would go in there with a $20 bill, and I would last 2 hours in there. And then I'd have fun. I'd go grab some takeout. I'd grab some McDonald's or something, and then head back and finish my other 2 classes for the rest of the day. It was the life, man. Back when I didn't have responsibilities. But today I would say I love offshore fishing. Being that I live in Florida, I'm not far from the coast. My perfect me day is a bunch of my buddies, and I've done this before. A bunch of my buddies pile on a boat, a 6-man charter, and head out for, you know, most of the day, and just go out and hang out, drink beer, talk shit stories, you know, have a good time, and catch a bunch of fish, you know, get a couple shark encounters while we're out there, you know, a couple cut line areas. And the thing about deep sea fishing, when you go out, you know, in these reefs that are like 100 to 200 feet deep, you never know what you're going to get, man. You never know what's going to bite that line. So that's a perfect day for me, is just spending the day out on the ocean. You got your own captain, your own first mate, you know, that does all your baiting and everything. You don't have to worry about any of that crap. If you mess up your rig, they've got one, boom, they're throwing it on the rig, they got you, they're all set. That is a perfect day for me. And to add a bunch of friends to come on the boat and bullshit all day and just sit back and have a good time. When you're out on the ocean, it's something about the ocean. When you're out there, there's no freaking city, there's no cars, there's no people, there's no nothing. And if you have good weather and it's not too rough, it's a nice serene day, it is heaven. It is heaven. You're just sitting out there with just your friends, just chilling, catching fish whenever you want, and there's always something biting, and it's always big, and you're always fighting. I mean, your forearms are all bruised up from the pole that you're holding, trying to reel everything in. That's a good day. That's a good day. That's my perfect day. Anyway.
Nice. Sounds fun.
Yeah, I have not gone through the dungeon yet, Fluffy Potato. But this person you're going to hear from next has. And what do we think? I think he said 157th in the world he finished on day 1. I think it is. Yeah. Something like that.
Now, he did want us to add one piece of information. Are we doing closeouts?
Yeah, we are.
Before or after?
We're closing out. We're going to close out the show, and then we're going to, like I said, we recorded an interview with Dimwie earlier in the day today because he's in Germany. We did it live at the time. But he's 6 hours ahead, and there's no way he could be on the podcast this late at night. He wouldn't be able to go to work. So we caught up with him, talked with him, and but he did, and everything he said, he did message us back. And did you want to mention it, Kings, or you want me to?
Sure, I'll mention it.
Yeah.
he just, I was, great guy doing the interview and stuff. And
Yep.
one thing that was like super important, like just overall meta discussion. But one thing he wanted to let us know that he missed from the interview was that in contests, you don't just need to understand how to figure out mechanics. You also need to understand your teammates so that each of you can add to the other's strengths. While
Yep.
skill is good, having a team that are on the same page is honestly more important than pure skill. So I just thought it was a really good point to add in, along with what you'll hear from the interview.
That was a very good statement too, because it's about your teammates and how you can add to their what your skills, what you can add to their skills, and the fact that you're all on the same page. Exactly, perfect point. So yeah, he was what he was trying to do there. He didn't want to seem like he was flexing. He was just trying to explain that it really comes down to your friends that play with you and how well you know them and get through encounters. And what he's going to talk about tonight is his mindset. We'll catch up on, his life, his mindset. We'll get into the encounters, which Kingsley has done the raid. So they both mentioned the encounters, and we recorded it on video. So one problem though is I don't know if Discord's going to be able to hear the audio. I can share my screen, but I don't know if you're going to hear the audio because for some reason Discord cannot hear when I play something on my Windows. For some reason, Discord cannot hear it, and I don't know how to fix
if you're
that.
in Discord only for live, be sure to listen to the show again when it comes out, and you'll hear it that way. Or you can hop over to YouTube.
Exactly. If you want to watch it now with all the audio and stuff, you'll have to come over to the YouTube channel. Unfortunately, that's what we were so late. Why we were so late tonight is because we were trying to figure out how we can make that work, and we just couldn't get it to work. So sorry about that, guys, in the Discord. We appreciate you. We love you that you stopped by tonight and hung out with us. But you will not be able to hear the audio of the video. But anyone in the YouTube channel will be able to hear the full interview tonight. So that being said, we thank everyone for coming out tonight. We are, as soon as the video is over, the podcast ends. It's that quick. So Kingsley, thanks for coming on again tonight. We probably got a little too deep in the build section, but I just want to make sure I shared that for people who don't get into build crafting and stuff a lot. It's a simple build, but thanks for coming on tonight, man, and explaining your builds and how.
Well, one last thing, and then how people can find me. I want to start giving shout outs to some other people in the Al Sector Alliance too. And I figured I would start with one of the first people to join us way back in the day. I won't go with the Guardian Hub because I'm originally from there and we don't do the podcast anymore. You can check out the Guardian Hub. That'll just be a bonus extra credit one. But Two Titans and a Hunter, they were one of the first people to join the Al Sector Alliance. I'm probably going to go by order, week by week, and just give shout outs and check out their podcast and their Discord, Two Titans and a Hunter.
That was actually one of the very first podcasts that I was invited to. And it's funny, I listened to them. They started before we started our podcast. And I remember I was listening to them and I said, man, these guys sound like a lot of fun to hang out with. And sure enough, we had just started our podcast and they just DM me one day and say, hey, you want to come on the show and talk with us? I haven't talked to you guys. And Hazel was on as well. And a lot of fun, a lot of good memories there. So yeah, great shout out, man. Great shout out.
Anyways, you can find me as all the places, Blue Sky and Twitter as Kingsleymac, and then in the Discord and in game as Kingsley, and just find me in the Discord. I'm around.
Yep. Okay. And I am Todd the Gator, 2Ds and GATR. You can find me in the Discord all across the interwebs the same way. And hey, if you're not in our Discord community, what are you waiting for? It's discord.gg/Guardian Downcast. It's right there on the screen. Join our community. We love to talk Destiny. We love to talk, feedback from our shows every week. And I am sorry that it is running a little late tonight because we packed so much into one podcast. But we're going to go out here with our interview with our longtime community member, Dimwie. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Okay. I'm going to pull it up. Give me 1 second. Another thing too is I didn't have it drawn up, so yeah, it's not
what do you mean?
I didn't have it set up to play. Now I'm going to
So you'll
Alright, I
have
wanna
it so it goes
welcome
in
a
YouTube, and
longtime
then we'll
community
just
member.
and then
He's
we'll
been
just cut from here in Discord or whatever.
Yep, yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm pulling it up right now. Get on
I
screen.
mean, maybe I don't see any reason to stay here, though. I guess, right?
I'm gonna hang out, and if anybody wants to talk in the chat, I'll hang out
I'll
and
hang
answer
out
your
for now. I
Yeah,
can't promise I'll stay
yeah,
for the full interview, but yeah,
yeah.
I might
Okay.
turn off the camera
I'm
and step
yeah,
away
I'm
for a
gonna
second.
actually I can just do this and our cameras don't even
Or
show
cut
up
us
anymore.
out or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can do that. So all right, here we go, guys. Have a good night. Have a great week. Love you. Thanks for hanging out. And here's Dimwie. All right, I want to welcome a longtime community member. He's been a part of our Discord community for over 2 years now. Yeah, it just seems like you've been here longer than that. Anyway, he's always had input on our various shows in the past, and I've gamed with him in raids and in the Crucible, and
Yeah.
he's a decent player in Crucible, by the way. I've always enjoyed his company, whatever activity we're in. He's one of our many European members and lives in the Germany area and is what I would call one of our more hardcore PvE players. He actually participated in the world's first day one dungeon race recently with the new Sundered Doctrine dungeon. Bungie just released this last week. So tonight, I figured, you know what, we'll catch up with him, and since he was back on our 227th episode titled Friends Across the Pond, where I think we had 8 guests on that day. It was a very busy show. But if you want to listen to the episode, by the way, you can go back to guardiandowncast.com and go to episode 227. You can search it, or search Friends Across the Pond and it'll pop up for you. So I want to welcome tonight Dimwie. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing quite well, man. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for coming on tonight, man. I know you mentioned to me that you ran the day one dungeon race with the contest mode and all that, and I definitely want to pick your brain tonight and do that. But first, before we do that, it's been a while, man. I want to catch up with you a little bit here. For those of you who didn't tune into 227, where do you live, sir? What do you do for a living?
I live in Germany, as said,
Okay.
in the lovely state of Bavaria, and I currently am training to become an electrician.
Oh, very good. That's awesome, man. Man, what that is such a great trade. Well, I can go into a diatribe about how the trades are the future of the world, but I won't do that tonight.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I'm just going to give you kind of an abbreviated form of our usual questionnaire that we give our new guests. But since you've been on the show before, I've already asked these of you, but how did you originally find Destiny, man?
Back in, well, it's gonna be something. Back in 5th grade, I believe, I was talking to a friend of mine, and because I gotten a PS4 recently, and wanted to talk to him about, games to play.
Right.
So I didn't have that many. Then he, spontaneously mentioned Destiny. I remember that I used to watch some German Let's Players play it from that time, and I liked it. And I convinced my parents to buy it for me, and I've been stuck here ever since.
You're in it with the rest of us, right?
Unfortunately,
you like
yes.
it.
Yes, I know.
He likes it, Mikey. I think he likes it. That's no one will get that reference. That's all right. I'm okay. Well, let me ask you this. What is there a memory that kind of brings a smile to your face, like an all-time memory that comes to mind when it comes to anything you've gamed in Destiny or Destiny 2?
I mean, well, I didn't play that much Destiny 1. I think I literally joined in as Destiny 2 was announced. I didn't have any DLC system, so I don't really have that big of a memory from there. But I think there's 2 big memories I usually remember in Destiny. One of them was when I did the contest. What is it called? From Vow of the Disciple. That was the first time I've ever attempted to do an end game activity, and the entire thing was a goddamn mess. Like server issues. One of my team members left on caretaker. Then we had to get another member in. Then I had to go to work the next day. And when I came home, I had 1.5 hours. I got lucky with an LFG, and we cleared it in 1 hour. That was just the first proof that I could do activities like that. And the second one would be King's Fall. because that was the first contest I've ever played with friends,
Good man.
and I still have the clip of that clear from us. The audio is gold. We screamed like children because I think the last inch of his HP bar, we killed him with SMGs because we had nothing left. And we killed him as he blew us up.
That's that emote where you have no ammo left and you just throw the gun. I think there's an emote about that right now in the store.
That was what we did.
Yeah, I was actually looking over your raid report for your Charlemagne bot. You've got 22 clears in Salvation's Edge. You've got 11 clears in Pantheon, 25 clears in Crota's End, 120 in Root of Nightmares, 96 in King's Fall, 143 in Vow of Disciple. That's admirable. 140 in Vault of Glass. Let's see, Deepstone Crypt, 125 runs, 70 in Garden of Salvation. And then it kind of tapers off because, the early years of Destiny, like Crown of Sorrow, you've got 7, Scourge of the Past 7, Last Wish, 57 runs. God bless you, sir. You even did some Spire of Stars, Eater of Worlds, Leviathan. It looks like this is when you were just getting into it, but you've got 832 raids that you've got under your belt, and it's probably gone higher than that since you checked this, but 1,396 hours in raiding alone. That's impressive, man.
I played it a lot, yeah. It's my favorite activity in this game. At least I think that what makes Bungie, Destiny and Bungie in general unique to me is raids and dungeons.
Yeah, it is it is true in game. That's for sure.
And everything like before, what is it called? The sunset of the raids.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I've actually started playing for skill was back in Season of the Lost.
Okay, that makes sense then. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So question on raids and dungeons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you prefer, if all things were equal, take difficulty out of it, do you prefer more of a 6-player thing with a raid or a 3-player with a dungeon?
Good question. I mean,
hey, that's why he's my co-host.
I guess what I'm asking is, because for me, I prefer having more people, but some people might prefer having less. So let's say the content is the same difficulty. Do you like having more people, or that can cause problems too if someone's grumpy or someone's not helping the team or something? So there's pluses and minuses, of course.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I usually just go in with set teams from my clan, and we usually do what's the word? Fuck around. It happens a lot that we just screw up and just all die multiple times. I think it's more fun, honestly, that way, because even if we fail.
Yeah.
So I would honestly say 6, man. I mean, if there's a grumpy person, it happens from time to time. I did a lot of what's it called? Root of Nightmares with LFGs. It tends to happen, but it's not really an issue, I'd say.
Yeah. No, just curious.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love raids because you can have a brand new person you've never raided with before, and you know all about them by the time the raid's over. Because in between, people take bathroom breaks and stuff, and you just sit there and get to talking and stuff, and you get to catch up with people and see what they're about. I mean, I love doing raids. If Kingsley would probably drag me into more of them if I wasn't so hesitant to play Crucible, because that's kind of the area that pulls me apart in Destiny is raiding versus playing Trials or playing Iron Banner when it's coming around. But okay, well, let me ask you this: what's your main character that you use? What do you main, and why?
Hunter. I play all of them, but I think it's like I have 100 hours on Titan, 100 hours on Warlock, and like 5,800 hours on Hunter.
We get
so I am definitely a Hunter main.
Why? What is the advantage in using a Hunter in PVE?
It isn't really well. It's just good for damage in general, but I just always liked the playstyle of Hunter, and I just stuck with it ever since I started playing.
Do you use a lot of stealth, a lot of the invisibility to get out of trouble?
Yeah, because it's kind of the main thing from Prismatic Stylish Executioner. It's extremely strong.
I got you. And are you preferably a solo player in general activities, or do you prefer to play with a fire team?
Oh, depends. I mean, if I go play with a Never, I usually tend to do it alone, unless I have somebody
and you can tell us why. It can be.
I mean, for example, its sentimental value, it makes no sense, but it's Izanagi's Burden, because the one I have in my vault was the first ever Izanagi's I had, and it helped me through like 3 contests, and I have emotionally stuck to this weapon. I have like 4,000 kills on this thing, even though it's for damage.
Yeah.
I love it. It's great. But refusing wise, I would not delete my mountaintop. It took me like genuinely a month to get that thing.
Did you get it the first time around, right? Playing all that
comp?
Yeah.
No, I meant
you got it
from Into the Light.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I like Izanagi's a lot. I still use it, even though it's not even necessary in Garden Raid, just because I'm used to it.
There's some beautiful, there's some beautiful ornaments. I got all the ornaments for that sniper, even though I don't use it all the time. But there's one that looks like it's a sheath of a sword. It's just the coolest ornament for that gun. And yeah, I mean it's definitely a special sniper rifle. Yeah, I get you on that, man. Kingsley, anything else you wanted to ask him generally before we move on to the dungeon?
Yeah, I'm always curious if you have a favorite drink and or dessert. You can mention whatever you want.
Drink. Good, and I'm more of a younger person in this
you can say it.
Alone.
You can just say it. We're old. You can say it.
I mean, I'm bringing the ratio down by like 20 years, but I like energy drinks, let's say like that.
Gotcha. Yep.
I mean, to be fair, like after the Salvation's Edge, I kind of needed them, given that they just kept me alive for the 30 hours.
Yeah.
But I just like the taste. It's hard to say. They're not good, but
I get it.
And desserts? That's a good question. I mean, cake-wise, I like pudding cake. It's amazing.
Yum.
Yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Yeah, my stomach's
energy
hurting.
drinks.
Yeah.
I wonder if you have like the same companies as us, or if it's like quite different. Can you name a couple brands? And I'm like, I've heard of that or not.
Naturally, Monster Energy, Red Bull. That's probably the one I drink the most.
What's the one? What's the one my kids drinking? Like the vitamin versions of the newer energy drinks are more vitamin based. But I looked at the label and they're loaded with guarana, man.
That's guarana's good.
Guarana is just an herbal root that just creates natural caffeine.
It's guarana, by the way.
Also, what is it called?
Guarana. That's what they call
vitamins.
Have I been saying it wrong?
I feel like a scam.
Oh yeah, it's guarana. That I know. I've liked guarana for a long time.
I've said guarana all these years.
Okay.
I remember we would take these guarana pills when I worked in construction, because man, I had a hard time focusing on construction.
Guarana is very popular in South America, especially like Brazil and Argentina. Yeah. And they make sodas that are just guarana flavored.
Okay.
And they're actually pretty good. You can eat them here in the U.S.
It's from a root of a tree, right? It's like a tree root?
It's from a root, high in caffeine.
Nice. All right,
There's a drink, I think it's called Kikos or something like that in Germany. It's also made with that root. It's very good.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Thank you, Kingsley. Well, let's get down to it, man, because the main reason we wanted to talk to you today is you actually ran the day one the Sundered Doctrine dungeon this past week when it was everyone was going for world's first, and you played on the contest mode as well. I actually jumped in your stream for about an hour and watched you guys trying to figure it out. But let me start here. Did you jump in right at reset, or did you wait till later in the day when your friends were ready, or were you really trying to get it done quick?
On launch, we went in straight ahead. One of our teammates was still at work, so it was just me and my teammate at first.
Okay.
We just ran to the first encounter and just tried to figure everything out. I think like 20 minutes after we were in the encounter, he joined in.
Okay.
But by then we already figured out how everything worked, so it was just, getting him ready, and then we were just off to go.
Well, what I want to do is I want to kind of build the picture here, and then we'll get into the encounters. And I know, Kingsley, you can chime in here too, because you've gotten a run as well through it. Now, I have yet to get a run through the new dungeon. But what was your setup, preparing for the new dungeon? I mean, you main a hunter. I'm sure that's what you brought in. What did you have like different kinds of builds, or was there one main build that you were using?
I think actively I used 3 loadouts.
Okay.
One of them is simple Nighthawk on Strand with, well, it's combination blow, simple as. I think I used Ascension because its rework made it insanely strong. It now works with dodges and the, what's it called? Gambler's dodge, meaning you can spam combination blow and Ascension all the time.
Okay.
And Stylish Executioner, simple. If anything dies with an elemental debuff, you go in this. That also works with other weapons I'm going to talk about in a second.
And combination blow got buffed big time. I remember that used to be negligible when I tried to use it, but now it really stuns.
It is a very good fragment. During damage for Celestial Nighthawk, I popped the Golden Gun. Then I went directly into my inventory and switched to Foe Tracer. What Foe Tracer does is it increases your weapon damage after you damaged an enemy with an ability. Conveniently, after you shoot a Golden Gun, that tends to happen. And then you have a solar damage buff, but damage I'm going to talk about when we get there. And usually mechanical things, I always had I think it's Gifted Conviction, correct.
Okay.
Activates Ascension. It throws like little arc grenades that was called Jolt, and it gives you a damage resist. It makes you incredibly tanky, and it's very good. And for the last loader I used was with Aeons, so you can switch to it, finish an enemy, and switch back.
And you have
very simple.
You play on PC, right? I'm assuming.
I'm a controller player.
I like controllers as well, but do you play on PC or do you play on a console?
Yes, I play on PC.
Okay, nice. How do you switch so quickly? Are you using the loadout function on the the UI on the game?
Yeah, of course I'm using the loadout stuff.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they made a change I don't really like. Well, I think they changed it back. When you go into your inventory directly, you couldn't open the loadouts on PlayStation.
I hated
You had to
that.
switch to like a weapon. Well, at least click on a weapon.
Yeah.
But they removed it, so it's fine now.
That was annoying. This last Revenant, I remember I couldn't quickly move back to my inventory screens into it was so annoying, man. I'm glad they fixed that because that was a button press I'm used to doing all the time. And when they stopped doing it for some reason, I don't know if it was a bug or what, but man, that drove me nuts trying to switch out stuff. Okay. And what else did you include your weapons used too, or?
The weapons, at least for first, you want to talk about first encounter first, or?
Oh no, we're gonna get into encounter in a minute. I'm trying to get your setup so people can try out what you were trying to use in there, and then we'll get into.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. The day one loadout is a bit different to the regular because you know optimized strategies and some weapons were restricted. In my inventory, I have a multi-mark with attrition orbs and kinetic tremors. I think like last week before the new episode, Banshee was selling that one. It's incredibly good.
Okay.
I also have a Tinasha's Mastery with Chill Clip. The secondary pick didn't really matter. Then I have a Midnight Coup, just a hand cannon. And what's it called? Elephony? The stasis grenade launcher from Revenant.
Okay.
Because it can create heavy ammo.
Gotcha.
Very simple.
Nice.
And also a Praetor's Revenge because this thing is just nuts.
I gotta try that. I haven't used it in a while.
Its new Origin trait is probably one of the best in the game, if not the best.
Because of the Origin perk now?
Yes. If you cast your super, it doubles the magazine for like 10 seconds.
God, that's awesome. Talk about a DPS. That's a DPS. Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Well, okay, before we get into the mechanics, I want to just ask you your mindset, kind of going into, anytime you go into like a day one contest mode, whether it's a dungeon or a raid, what's kind of the mindset when you go into it? Because I've gone on a lot of day one contest mode stuff and we're just all over the place, but do you guys have like a certain, like a template or a certain way that you work through the encounters when you're trying to figure stuff out?
You mean when we're like the mindset before the day one now, or
no? Your mindset when you're jumping in and you're trying to figure out the encounters. Do you have like a certain plan of attack when you go in there? Do you go around and just touch the edges of everything, or are you looking for like certain language to pop up on the screen, or what do you usually look for when you go in there?
Okay, so the first thing first is always like the first, I don't know, like 10, 20 wipes, you look for anything. You touch every surface and every mechanic you can find.
Okay.
When you see a text, you check what happens. I mean, I can only compare this now with Salvation's Edge. You just like dunk everything and kill enemies. Then suddenly a guy spawns in the middle. Okay, how did that happen? It was because we killed all the enemies around. And from then on, you try and make connections with mechanic-wise with other raids. Because like Bungie usually, I don't say like this, except for the last dungeon in raid, usually have a pattern when it comes to mechanics, because you have to do like 3 specific things and then you can start damage and such.
Okay.
It was a bit different this time around, but that's usually how it goes. And in the final, even when there's like a boss, first you try and figure out the mechanics and get to it consistently, and then you put damage weapons on and try to kill the boss. At least that's how we try it all the time.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into the encounters. Pretend I'm you're Sherping me through it, and you and Kingsley have made a run through it. I need you guys to help me get through this thing. What are we doing when we first get to this dungeon? What's the objective?
First of all, we drop in, run to the first encounter, naturally.
Right.
There's a little new mechanic they're showing. There's a ghost. Well, your ghost makes a pop-up. There's a platform you can stand on. It'll lower, and then with that you can continue further into the raid dungeon. In the first encounter, there are lenses. Simply said. You start the encounter by turning the first lens. Then you have to go into different rooms and find a guy that is named, what's his name again? Truth Teller. That Truth Teller, when you kill him, it's a flying dread. Will drop a symbol that is in one of the 4 rooms. And you need to connect the beams into that room. It has like a little connector towards the symbol. You need in that same encounter there are subjugators in each of the rooms. If you kill them, they drop a lens. Most of the sockets don't have one actually. So you need to effectively go from the start in the middle room. There are 3 lenses. You need to then go towards, just connect the laser towards the final room into the connector. Once that is done, it says it accepts the truth, and then you have to do it twice. So you do it, you kill the flyer, connect it, then another flyer will spawn, and then you kill that one and connect it as well. Once you did that, you have to do it 3 times. And once you've done that, you're done. On contest, you were on a timer. It was pretty tight, I must admit. But honestly, I don't think it's as tight as it was in Vesper's house.
Okay.
At least in comparison.
Okay. And Kingsley, feel free to chime in whenever here, man, because, this is your thing.
Since I didn't run it on contest, my loadout was just what I was running already. It's a lot more easy on regular mode. I think this dungeon feels very appropriately normal difficulty on non-contest mode, which is good. It doesn't feel too easy, too hard. It's just kind of like right in the middle. And so I just had a real basic loadout myself, nothing too interesting. I was just running the Kept Confidence hand cannon, Cold Heart, and then I was running the new seasonal machine gun, the Watchful Eye. I'll want to hear about your weapons, Dimwie, in a second.
I was just going to ask.
And then I want to hear your opinion on the encounters, because like I didn't like some, and then I liked others too. But if there's anything else we want to add about this encounter, what did you use for weapons in this?
Very simple. Since it was on a timer, you had to move quickly. So the main goal at clear was secondary. We had to kill the subjugators and everything as fast as possible, at least the majors. So I went with Tenacious Mastery as a sidearm, which is a special rocket sidearm. It has chill clip, meaning on my way there, the little Psion Dread, they will melt you the second they see you. So if I shoot one of them, they usually die in 1 hit, and chill clip procs, making me invisible. So I could just move in without an issue. If I had the possibility, I would Goldie the subjugator immediately, or burst him down with Choir of 1. To move quickly between encounters, I used, the Slammer. It has Eager Edge. or any sword with Vigage for that matter. And yeah, that was pretty much the weapons I used in that encounter. If I were to play it on normal now, I would probably only change Choir of One with Lord of Wolves, because the damage Lord of Wolves currently putting out is incredible, to say the least.
Yep. And how did you like this encounter overall? Just was it fun, the puzzle, the lens aspect, or mostly in comparison to the other two encounters? How did you like this one?
I mean, contest-wise, I liked it because there was a timer on it. It was very, close. There was, what's the word? Excitement, I guess. And normal-wise, I think the encounter is a bit too slow, because I don't think you need to do it once, then twice, then 3 times. I think repetitive. After a long time, that will get incredibly repetitive. But at least the subject has died pretty fast in normal mode in comparison.
Yes.
I don't one-tap you.
Okay.
I agree.
Yep.
I was going to say, I don't really love this encounter for a couple of reasons. It's too much. It doesn't need to go 1, then 2, then 3. Also, I'm not as big on like actual puzzles. I like mechanics, and I really like the second and third encounter. We'll get into that later. But this first encounter compared to those two, it's just not my favorite. It's okay, but I don't love it.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I like the lens mechanic. It's nice. But I think you need to do it way too often. Continuously stop playing Indiana Jones because suddenly there are falling boulders.
What?
With spikes?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Spikes.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know how they got an entire pitfall trap into Rogue's, ship, but they have it.
Oh my god.
It caught us off guard twice. It was very funny. We had to, in contest, even in the transitions, you only had 1 rebuff each, meaning if one of you died and you could not reach him, you would have to wipe. It was stressful, to say the least, but once you were down there, you got introduced to the second mechanic, which was, how can you describe it? A clock, I guess?
Yeah.
I mean,
a clock.
Yes, you need to kill at least in the beginning, you need to kill a ogre. Then that will spawn a witch. That witch will spawn a little buff from Vow of the Disciple. You pick that one up, and then you have 1 charge. There is a clock, 2 clocks actually, in that opening. You need to do 2 symbols that correspond to both clocks.
Okay.
When you dunk one of the symbols, it will move in the direction you put it in. There's also a little note on top that changes the direction in which the clock spins.
Okay.
So, for example, if you need stop, and stop is like 2 points away from where you are, and it's to the left, then you would shoot the note till it starts spinning left. Kill the witch twice so that you get both buffs, and then you would dunk it, and it would be in the correct symbol. If you did that twice, the door would open for the second encounter.
Seems like a lot. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna get even more because now we are at the, what is it called? Zoetic lock set, I believe.
Lock set, yeah.
One of the, honestly, must say, uniquest bosses in the game, I think at least. It is I like it a lot. Honestly, it was very cool to play it. It is effectively, on paper, just 4 Dread Shriekers. But the mechanics behind it are very cool. How that encounter works is it has the clocks that we just got introduced to. And you have 4 clocks and 4 sentries. You need to put it depends on what you want, because there are different symbols. I don't know all of them, but I remember on contest, I think it was like mass hysteria because everybody thought the symbol that was commune would extend damage phase. That was a lie. It was not. It would shoot bees at you when you did that. The strategy to pass that encounter is you would have to put in stop in the first one to the right, then stop again, stop again, and then on the final one, you would need to put in kill. Once you put in the symbol for kill, that would start the damage phase.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate the symbols we're talking about are from the Valve Disciple raid. If you want to refer to those, we've got infographics in our Discord where you can memorize those symbols. Yep.
Also in the dungeon, when you go in first, you can follow the laser into a room and it will show all the symbols there with their names.
Very nice. I know that. Good.
Yeah, just like the raid, Val. Mm-hmm.
I like it. Good deal.
But this time you don't have an annoying opening, so it was easier to go to. Okay. Weapons-wise, there was a little thing that happened in that encounter. Nobody knew about it until a patch note, I think. Because turns out when you hit a crit on the boss, the game was lying. It wasn't a crit at all. It just showed you a crit, and it was a body shot. Nobody noticed that because most players were using Sleeper Simulant, and Sleeper Simulant has a very high body damage percentage in comparison to other linears. So most people didn't notice that. So my lot for that encounter, I think I switched it like 7 times, but I think in the end I was on Aberrant Action, a solar sidearm, a rocket sidearm with Incandescent Heal Clip. Very good, because the wizards, they all have shields, and if you do not kill them within 2 seconds, they will kill you in 2 seconds. Then I used Sleeper Simulant, and in my primary I used the Multi-Mark.
So a lot of solar. Got you.
Correct.
Okay.
All solar because the wizards.
Right.
I switched because I conveniently could switch to Foe Tracer for my solar damage buff.
Got you.
There are ogres in that encounter. He hurt a lot. And the strategy was, because ammo was critical, because you would just go through your sleeper ammo immediately. So the strat force was one guy marked them with Zenitheth while I finished them with Aeons. So we had double heavy breaks for one of us.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that
Question.
Yep. Go ahead, Kingsley.
What is the actual crit spot then? Is it not the center of the quote shrieker?
No, that's the thing. It's supposed to be the center, but apparently it doesn't. It's just lying. Like the number doesn't represent what the damage is. So that's why, for example, Queensbreaker wasn't as strong, even though it should have been, because the crit was not correct.
Is there a better spot to hit, or you just ignore it and you still hit there anyway?
You could just ignore it.
Yeah. Okay.
As of right now, I would use Anarchy, because this is why I like this boss, because it's kind of unique. Every single one of the turrets counts as a unique hitbox, meaning you can shoot Anarchy at all of them, and it will deal all 8 Anarchy tick damage. It is very strong there. That's also why it took a lot of people so long, because Particle Accelerator is undeniably this season the best thing to have. So it's just meta. And he tanked it, so people just thought, must be a tanky boss. It turns out it wasn't. It was just...
right. Yeah.
Correct.
Gotcha. I follow. Okay.
Yeah, and I really liked this encounter. It felt very lively. Like you said, it's very unique. These four like boss shrieker things, think of them as like, I don't know, like 5 times the size of a regular shrieker, and they're all like on a wall, and they move up and down, and then they open up for DPS, and it's just the coolest experience. And like Dimwie said, there's 4 of them, but you don't have to like shoot one and shoot the next. You can shoot any of the 4, and then just the total DPS comes down. So there was times where I was shooting one, and then I'd run around because it was shooting me back or something was, and I'd go behind cover, and then the other one's in better light sign, so I would hit the next one, and I just loved it. It was a cool encounter.
And each one you hit would increase your multiplier, your damage multiplier. Is that what you're saying?
No, that was no damage multiplier. That was just...
It would just take the damage down.
Got you.
They all count damage bar
also
together.
In the animation, what's it called? When you start the encounter, it does an animation because the shriekers are in the wall. So you can literally see the animation where it opens up, pulls them out like they are a lock.
That sounds cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
So you do the DPS on the boss via the shriekers?
Yep. They are the boss. They are technically in Deep Stone Crypt the batteries, but they shoot back and hurt.
Okay, I got you. I follow you. Okay. All right, cool.
That clear is very critical in that encounter, because during damage, there will just spawn multiple waves of enemies. Mainly the dread enemies. I hate them with a passion. I got trauma from them from Salvation's Edge because the little scions will shred you within a second if you don't kill them. They have one of the strongest weapons in the game. It's incredible. And yeah, you needed to do good damage. Well, that's always the best encounters. Do good damage, do good survivability, and do good ammo economy.
Now
it was very good.
When you so we have three people in there. Do you assign someone to do ad control, or do you all work on the DPS?
How we did it was that's the encounter. It looks very cool.
Wow.
And how we did it was we had our setup was Warlock, Titan, Hunter. So we had everything represented.
Right.
Our Warlock, our Titan went to the left side because the left side is a bit more aggressive, and there's always spawns what's it called? A knight. I was on the right side, and the Warlock helped out from time to time, and our Warlock did the mechanic. We also did our symbols that we did was Brain, Stop, Kill, because Brain would spawn in Major Knight, which we could finish for heavy.
Oh wow!
It is a very cool boss.
That looks very fun.
Yeah, so that's Todd. I put in the chat. That's them closed, and then that's them open down below.
I got you. It looked like exotic Ingram's looking at you. That's crazy.
Kind of.
Yeah. They're huge though. Huge.
Yeah.
And
massive.
Also.
Very nice. I can't wait to try this.
Yep.
Awesome. So this is a second encounter. So once you get all the DPS, you get the bars down to 0. Then I'm assuming there's a chest here, and then And where do you go from here to the final encounter?
Actually, this encounter doesn't stop being funny because now you get to play golf.
What?
Once you by miracle killed all the 3 bosses, all of their balls will drop to the ground. On the top one, you can see the middle there. There's a little white spot there.
That's it.
It is ball shaped. So, we did the connection. Ball shaped. We have a ball. Ball must go in there. So you play golf with them. You shoot them through like a parkour and then just have to hold them one. That's conveniently, we had a Titan. He just shiver striked it. It flew in. So he made a 3-pointer.
So cool. That looks like fun.
Once you put one in, it activates and the door opens.
Wow. That's cool.
It is very funny.
You think they run out of ideas and they come up with just really cool stuff.
Yeah, I must say though, that was like this dungeon in general was extremely unique. Like usually we have like a pattern in which you can assume Bungie does it. In that situation, in that dungeon, none of the doors worked. Like from first encounter, the stairs collapsed, so you went through that. And in this encounter, we fought the same, as in the doors never worked. So why would they work now? Turns out we just had to play golf, and very cool.
Golf.
I love it. It's funny.
I like it.
It's one of my favorite dungeon encounters, even though I'm struggling to get it solo. It's hell.
That's pretty cool. So you run through the door finally opens when you do your little putt golf on it, and then where does it lead to from there?
Once you get through that, you will get to see a few. Given that, if you are familiar with the lore of After Disciple, what is her name again? Shaita, the mother of worms.
Right.
That was the one that fed the little podium Rope was on.
Well, is that the one where you saw it coming from the sky? Or that was probably different.
It was shooting from the bottom up to the
to
its weapon. That one was called the Appended. It was effectively just a planet cracker.
Yep.
And the mother was there, and it could give birth to worms. So the entire arena on the way there is littered with what is it called? Hive worm god corpses, because once you killed the Zoetic lock set, you entered Rogue's laboratory.
Wow.
This is where he did all of his experiments with the hive worms and the Scorn. That's probably where the caretaker also came from.
Kings, if you don't mind, keep throwing those pictures up. I'll put those in tonight too. I'll flash them on the screen if you're at a place where you can do it. I'll keep adding.
You just run through it. We all equipped Elephanum, the stasis. What's it called? Because it has. It's a spike. What's it called?
You're talking about the stasis
it's the
crystals?
Same frame as. No, it's the same frame as mountaintop, so when you shoot on the ground, it shoots you up.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And given that we all had no ammo after the second encounter, and it has infinite ammo, it was very easy to use. So we just skipped half the puzzle, and then we just went into another room where you had to do the lenses again. It's very simple.
Oh.
You need to be a bit more careful, though, because of, what is it called? Because you can get the lasers mixed up. It's kind of unfortunate, but you get through it. Once you open that door, you enter like the highest security area, do a right turn, and there is the final boss room. Once you go in, you see what it called? A dread scion that is a bit more shiny, blinked out. And he is using strand on the head of a high form god. Once you shoot him, it activates the encounter, and you meet Kareth what is his name? I just remember Kareth the something. Can't remember exactly his name.
Okay.
Must say, in comparison to Atrax, because we thought we were going to take another fucking whole weekend at this.
God, yeah.
He wasn't bad. He was not horrible. I mean,
okay.
I would like to say this real quick. I was not a fan of Atrax's final room in Vespers because the random lightning strikes were the bane of my existence. Because it was like the Witness, where you had to do damage and dodge at the same time. But with Atrax, you had to dodge all the lightning, which are all randomly placed. There was no pattern, like in Salvations.
Right.
There are 70,000 adds because there's all the Atrax clones. And on top of that, the damage was extremely tight. So you had to do like 7 things at once. It overstimulated me to hell and back at like 5 a.m. It was not a good time.
I remember I was running all the time on that last encounter in Vespers. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
And it one-tapped you through wells. It was not fun at all. This boss is way more chill, like in comparison to Zoetic Lockset. I genuinely believe on contest, second encounter was the hardest one to beat because the other one was like in comparison. Kareth is a joke. What I ran here, I will say this on recording, do not use this build we used because I did not have Queensbreaker and our Warlock was the only one that had particle deconstruct, meaning he couldn't use div, made me, the hunter, be the only one that was able to use divinity. For the record, do not put divinity on the hunter. He has golden gun, he has all the damage exotics. It's a dumb idea, but it was the only thing we could do because I didn't have Queensbreaker, the catalyst.
Okay.
So we just did that. Very simple encounter. The door mechanic. I forgot to mention that. On the way there to the final encounter, your ghost will ping something again. It will be a door. After a while, we just, started shooting out of boredom. Turns out that activated it. You need to shoot the door for it to open. And you need to shoot it open enough, far enough, so that it doesn't kill you when you go through it. Because it squishes you after some time.
Oh, great. That'll be me.
It killed us so often. It was insane.
Jeez.
Okay, to explain that encounter, well, actually, weapons first. I used, once again, don't use this. I used, what is its name again? Damn it. Divinity? Machine gun of your choice, doesn't matter which one. I went with, from, what was it, Season of the Haunted, the Callus LMG.
Yep.
I think
I like that one. I got that one crafted as well. 900 RPM.
It's a good weapon. Then I used the, what's it called? The sidearm again.
You talking about the solar one?
The stasis one.
Oh.
Since I was using divinity.
From the Iron Banner, right?
From Iron Banner, correct. Yeah. Tinasha's Mastery.
Yep.
Correct.
Nice.
And when I ran out of ammo, I switched to a multi-mark. Very simple encounter. There's a little tablet in the front. In one of the 2 rooms, left or right side. Right side is with the one with the little platform where you step on. It lowers. On the left side, it's the door that you need to shoot.
Okay.
In one of those rooms, there's a truth teller. that one will show you the fake symbol. You need to, and there will be a left and right side. You need to deactivate all the ones on the side that are wrong, and activate all the ones that are on the side that are correct. Then there's all those lenses. You need to, beam them on all the things.
Right.
Also, a thing that happens there, you need to kill subjugators again to act so that attendees will spawn, the little psions. Those psions will give you a buff with which you can shoot little tangles that are stuck to the lenses. You need to destroy those tangles in order to move the lenses.
Gotcha.
Very simple. However, be careful because those tangles, when you destroy them, will spawn tangles, like 2 per tangle. And if you don't watch out for 1 second, they will in fact one-shot you. They hurt a lot, at least in contest.
Okay.
And they have killed, I think they cost us like 30 minutes or even up to an hour at best.
Wow.
And I'm going to get to that later. Once you do that, you interact with the platform in the beginning where it set all that.
Mm-hmm.
It says then activate. You press on it, then the sun will effectively come out. That sun will fry the boss's HP shield.
Nice.
And you need to be in cover, or you get fried as well.
I got
Very
you.
simple.
Right.
Once the shield is down, the sun will stop shining, and the boss will be damageable. At least I did, because I had to improvise. Given that I couldn't do damage directly because I was using diff, I was using Sounds and Squall because it was shattering and freezing him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just shooting diff at them for my teammates. Damage was not an issue in this encounter at all, even in contest, because if you were doing get damage, you could two-phase them. Yeah, once you did damage, when the second, or as soon as damage stops, the sun will start shining again. You need to take cover.
Mm-hmm.
However, you need to be careful before damage and after damage. The boss will move around. Sometimes he will hug you. When he melees you, you will get entangled, and you can't move. And when you're outside and the sun is looking at you, you will die. What can also happen is he can pull you, meaning when the sun is currently shining, it can pull you out and you will get fried alive.
Why not?
It's very fun. It's been an experience.
Oh, God.
But I'll just repeat that until he dies.
Okay.
I believe it was a very fun raid. I believe our placement was 176th.
Nice.
With all I'm very proud of our placement comparison because
that's very good.
Vesper's host was 2,500 with all the time loss. I even took the time to make a sandwich.
Yeah.
I still have an image of that.
Nice.
I'm happy with our placement. I'm very proud of it.
Kingsley.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
And a couple things on the third encounter. I also really liked this encounter, even though, it was like a little easier per se, but it still felt very lively because you would have to go around to different rooms potentially to find the correct things. And it's really interesting how you mention correct in this instance means the lies are correct. So we have to turn the lies on and the truths are incorrect.
It's a bit weird because the truth it's weird because his name is Truth Teller, but he's telling the lie. It's
that tripped people up, I think, for a while, right?
I think nobody really cared at the beginning because, like, I know there's a story part to it, like even in the first encounter. Because, like, for example, it says, "Hive worship Witch Queen." That is the truth. You can see it from time to time, even if it makes sense. Mm-hmm. But for example, things that are also the truth, because it's from the Dread's view, which I kind of like. For example, Guardian kills Witness. They don't accept that, so they consider it a lie.
I get it.
Nobody really cared. They just went for the symbols that are wrong and correct. They didn't really care for story, so they just called it out as wrong. I mean, technically it isn't. It's like the front and back room of Oryx's course. It's same story, but I liked the encounter. It was good.
Recurrent Impact is the name of that machine gun, by the way, just so people can look it up. Yeah, I have mine crafted. That's another argument to crafting. Subsistence, tap the trigger. Can't beat that.
I did not use that. I think I had incandescent and what was the field prep?
That's a thing. You can just go back and make it however way you want for whatever your encounter you're going to do.
Yeah, it's expensive as hell though.
Oh, tape. That's the cost of crafting. You know,
I guess
there's got to be something that people have to do. All right, I'm sorry. I will go into a diatribe on that. Kingsley, anything else you want to mention about the third encounter?
I think that's it. Yeah, the boss could be over time maybe considered more of a joke taking down, but I still like. I've only run this dungeon once, but I feel like I'll still like that encounter going forward because at least there's some interactiveness to it leading up, and you also have to deal with the lenses, but it's not as annoying as the first encounter where you have to deal with multiple ones and you're not sure if you have the angle right and they're crisscrossing each other practically and everything. So I like the third encounter and the boss, and it was only the first encounter that I was just like, don't love, and then the second and third encounter I liked a lot.
Excellent.
What is it called? I also did a second run with one of our clanmates to get him also through contest, and in that encounter we had a lot more issues with him. Karif just started to troll, honestly, because once he refused to leave our side even when the sun was shining, meaning he wasn't covered when the goddamn shield was going to go down.
Oh.
So he punched us, pushed us out of the cover, and made us get boiled alive.
Thanks, Bungie.
It's truly amazing. The other time, he just ran up to us and hid behind a pillar. He was camera breaking us the entire time, like it's caught. But I like this encounter even now because I think it's kind of funny that like when he sometimes runs into the front, you need to follow him to do damage, and then the sun comes up, and then you are in the situation. I like the encounter a lot. I genuinely enjoyed the dungeon. I liked it contest-wise more because I think Vespa's Atrax had more bullshit in it because of the lightning strikes. So I enjoyed this one way more contest-wise.
I had I had two more questions about the dungeon before we get on to our last part here. Did you get the day one, the dungeon exotic? Because don't they hand those out if you do day one on contest?
On contest, they give you those. Yes, correct.
What do you think of it? It's a linear fusion, right?
It's unique, to say the least. If you hold the reload button, it will turn it into turret mode. You will shoot 3 bullets out, and then you have a little turret.
Really? Okay.
It shoots automatically 1 bullet, and when you shot the bullet out, it will give you a laser pointer, effectively. If you shoot the laser pointer, it will shoot different rounds, and those will do more damage.
Do you know what it's called? Just so they... I'm assuming people listening here are trying to get information.
Finality's Augur.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The perk is called Rune Scribe Forge.
Okay.
It looks unique, that's for certain.
Okay. All right.
Damage-wise, it's I'm gonna try it in, what's it called? Pinnacle, no. Nightfalls.
Grandmasters.
That's
okay. Gotcha. Yeah. My last question is, how would you rate this dungeon compared to the others we've played so far? If you were to rank it.
Hard to say, because honestly, I must admit, quality-wise, after I would say Ghost of the Deep, I wasn't a fan of it. I think the quality in dungeons went extremely high. Warlock's Ruin is incredibly good dungeon. Vesper's Host is also good, and comparing it to the newer ones, I think it's second place. I like Warlock's Ruin a bit more.
Okay.
But in general, like total thing, I think it's like 5th place, I'd say personally.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm not too big on the first encounter.
Okay. Yeah, the mirrors in that close area. Yeah. Yeah. Three rounds is a lot. That is a lot.
Yeah, it's a handful.
3, yeah. Any parting thoughts, Kingsley, before we get on to the last segment here?
No, can't think of anything else right now.
Okay, so making sure you get your say. Well, I don't want to just leave you hanging here, Dimwie. I figured, why don't we do a little speed run before we go? Sound good?
Well,
all right. Create a break right there.
Like the old school ones, or the...
No, this is the new improved one. This is where there's no timers or contests. We just ask you 25 questions and just answer honestly. It's how our members can kind of get to know you a little bit deeper. Yeah, it's kind of like a quick shot, a quick fire way of knowing who Dimwie is. So I'll just do a little intro here real quick. All right, so this segment is called the Speed Run. I've handpicked 25 questions from a pool of over 1,000 submitted by our community over the years. These are quick, simple questions, to kind of get to know our guest a little bit deeper. No time limits, no contest, just quick answers, quick questions. So if you're ready, Dimwie, let's begin. Number 1, solo or co-op?
Solo.
Number 2, incandescent, volt shot, or destabilizing rounds?
Volt shot.
Number 3, what is your favorite Destiny exotic? Could be either Destiny.
Is the Nagisburden.
Okay. Number 4, if you could choose, who would voice your ghost?
Night Demon.
Oh, I like that.
I like his voice. It's very soothing.
I do too. Yeah, he's a good guy. Number 5, Void, Solar, Arc, Stasis, or Strand?
I like Stasis. It's not too good on Hunter, but I go Stasis.
Okay. Number 6, Pulse, Hand Cannon, Scout, or Auto Rifle?
Hand Cannon. Not even close.
Number 7, what is your favorite sport?
To watch or to play?
What was that again?
To watch or to play?
Oh, no, to watch. Like to watch.
Ice hockey.
Oh, okay. That was big in Germany. All right.
It's not at all.
I got you. Number 8, do you read lore cards?
For exotics, I care about all rates.
Okay. Number 9, what's the worst job you've ever had?
I only had 2, so I mean the quality is currently way higher, so I'd say mechanic.
Okay. Number 10, what's your favorite armor stat?
I'm forced to focus into mobility, so I guess I'll go with that.
Okay. Number 11, stealth or guns blazing?
Guns blazing, since Hunter can do both.
Yeah, no surprise there. Number 12, what best describes your style? Are you more retro or more modern?
Modern, I'd say.
Okay.
I don't like the old Destiny one.
Okay. Number 13, what is the best Destiny subclass? Any character.
Like objectively or in my opinion?
In your opinion. It's up wide open.
Any season?
Anything, anytime. Or let me say, what is the best Destiny subclass of all time?
I would say Solar Titan back in Season of the Haunted when Classic Restoration was still a thing.
Yeah.
You were immortal.
You were unkillable.
You were a walking nuke. It was insane.
That was crazy. Yeah, I remember that. That was a lot of fun. I crushed on that so much. Okay, what's your favorite Destiny planet and why?
Probably Nessus, because I like the area. It's very big. You can just fly around.
And it's Vex.
There's
cool.
also a thing there called the skate park. It's a very funny place.
Okay. Number 15. What is the most used app on your phone?
Oh God, Discord probably.
Yeah.
Because I talk to friends and all.
Sure. Number 16. What is Hawthorne's first name?
Shuyara or something like that.
Okay, that was a submitted question. I didn't know the answer to that. Number 17. Adept weapon or artifice armor?
All my artifice armor usually turns out horrible, so I'd say honestly artifice armor. Adept doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah. Number 18. Hardcover, paperback, or audiobook?
Embrace modernity. I'd say what's it called? Digital.
Okay. How many pizza rolls can you eat? Do you guys have pizza rolls over there?
Of course. 30?
30. I could take
I'm a hungry man.
I think I could take you. Number 20. Do you have a nickname?
Idiot.
I get Dimwie now. Okay. Number 21. Game-winning score or game-saving stop?
Game-saving stop.
Makes sense. Beverages. Bottles, cans, or cups?
I could open a can right now, so that's the answer.
Okay. Number 23. What is your favorite dungeon or raid?
Okay, that's a hard question. Dungeon, personally.
Or raid.
Everybody.
Either or.
Either
pick
or.
one.
Oh,
You gotta pick one.
Damn it. Vow of the Disciple. I hate the opening with all my passion, but my
I
god,
love
the
that
rest
raid.
is beautiful.
Most challenging raid for me. What
And
about
the
you,
music
Kingsley?
is insane.
What's your favorite dungeon or raid? You can only pick one.
That's a bunk question. You should be able to answer both. That's like saying,
Exactly. That's
what's your favorite Gambit map or
It's
Crucible map?
an in-game activity.
Category.
All right, fine. Dodge the question.
Anyways, if I had to pick one, I'll go with raid also, and raid would be,
I know what you're gonna say.
boy, it was Garden for the longest time, but
I know
it
what you're
may
gonna say.
be Val right now also.
Oh, you surprised me. I thought it was gonna be DS.
If they remove
Deepstone.
opening, it would be the best raid of
Yeah.
all time.
Yeah.
That is a little bit of work to get to the main dungeon, isn't it? Yeah, a lot of extra. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
DSC is nice, but that was never my favorite. But it's a top one, like favorite wise, like 3 or 4 maybe.
It's fun to teach too. I know you like teaching that one.
I like the music. Deepstone Lullaby is beautiful.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Number 24. Dark mode on your browser? Yes or no?
Of course.
Okay, so I'm not alone.
At
there.
5 a.m., I don't want to get flashbanged.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Verity did that already.
I'm not alone. I read some of these articles and I'm like, you have to pay a subscription to go dark mode, and I'm like, delete, out of here.
No hesitation.
Yeah, exactly. Number 25. If you could take one famous person to dinner, who would it be? It could be someone from your country too. It don't have to be ours.
I don't like any foreign celebrities. Sure, why not? Megan Fox.
Ooh, okay. I haven't heard that one before. All right, good. Well, Dimwie, you now have completed the speed run. Thanks for playing, man. Appreciated it. Hey, I got a question for you out there. Is there a speed run question that you think we should ask our future guests? If so, let's hear it. And just go to our 2026 speedrun channel in our Discord, submit your question. And at the beginning of 2026, we're going to have another 2 drawings for a $25 Amazon gift card. What do you have to lose? Let's hear it. 1 entry per member will go into the drawings, but you can submit as many as you like. And boy, did some people submit some really good ones this year. Thanks and good luck. All right. Well, thank you, Dimwie, for stopping by today, man. I know you're 6 hours ahead of us. So again, Kingsley, thank you for jumping in early on this Thursday to record this. But anywhere you want to tell people where they can find you, Dimwie?
I mean, usually easiest way to contact me is in, what's it called? Discord. Very simple. Or Destiny.
I got you.
Some of the older dungeons, I can just drag you along with me, and we'll just get through that. If you want G-Horn and Catalyst, we'll happily do that.
There you go. We got a lot of people in our community that love helping other people, so he is one of them. And I remember playing a few games of Crucible with you, man. You're just charging through there, man. I was like, holy crap.
It transitions from PVE. I used to play a lot with it, but ever since Winch Queen, I dropped the ball a lot.
I got you. Well, hey, man, it was a pleasure to talk to you today. Again, thanks for stopping by and updating us and kind of helping our newer players out there, especially that are thinking about getting into this new dungeon. So I thank you, man. Thanks a lot.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you.